Dad,
Honey, what's wrong?
I got in an accident.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
Okay, did you call the police yet?
Yeah, I did.
I'm gonna call an advocate and you can tell us both at the same time, okay?
Hey, Sarah, your dad told me that you need help.
So, is there anything that I need to do, or...?
Just focus on getting better.
With an advocate on your side, you're never alone.
Today's the day! And look who I just met.
Hey, Dad.
You deserve a worry-free recovery. You deserve an advocate.
I think this Jim Harbaugh cheating story is a big, big deal. And Jake, I think when we look at the latest updates, and I think maybe the most significant one from on3sports.com today is that Jim Harbaugh's contract has not been pulled. The extension they offered him, in fact, it has been fast-tracked. We've done some work on the story. Our sources are telling us that Jim Harbaugh, in fact, is going to get a contract extension, but the language will look significantly different. And yeah, you guessed it. It is going to have voidable terms in it that are related to NCAA infractions and violations, morals clauses in there as well that I am told do not currently exist in his contract. I think this is a significant move by the University of Michigan because right now they can fire Jim Harbaugh for cause. There's no doubt about that. But do they have the detailed bullet points in his current deal to do so? It does not sound like they do. And this new contract extension that Harbaugh, I would think, would have before kickoff on Saturday will have that language in there. I think this is what Jim Harbaugh hinted at yesterday in his press conference, that using the terminology that the contract offer had been rescinded was not accurate. Note he did not refute that it has been changed significantly. Jake, I think it makes a lot of sense for the University of Michigan to protect itself.
Yeah, I think that Michigan has to give itself ways out and has to give itself the ability to control the situation better than they're controlling it now. And I think that's precisely Michigan's problem, is that you knew that Jim was someone who, has had his fair share of interesting situations, to put it lightly. And I think that, Jim is someone who, is kind of a red ass, and we all know his personality. And I think Michigan just needs to find a way to give themselves tools to rein him in. You can't have this guy representing your university and your institution in the way that he is. And I don't know if this is the path I would be taking, but clearly they love Jim Harbaugh. Clearly Jim Harbaugh is their guy, because in my opinion, you can't tell me there's not a single way out of Jim's contract. I'm guessing more of the issue is that there's not a way out of it without paying him to get out of it. And I think that's probably what they're not looking to do. They're not looking to have more bad PR on top of bad PR. And so I think it's a difficult spot to be in if you're Michigan. But I understand why they might want to do this. I get it. I don't love the idea that you're extending them, but that's a philosophical difference in their decision.
Yeah, and I think you have to protect your position here if you're Michigan. I just don't think there's any other way to go about this. I think there have been so many salacious details that have come out. Hell, throw out the sign stealing allegations in that investigation. The FBI has been on Michigan's campus for a month, 4 weeks now. We found out this week that the FBI has been on campus in Ann Arbor. That's a big deal. And they are investigating a former offensive coordinator and computer crimes, which allegedly had multiple victims across state lines. That's a big deal in and of itself. Then you have the level 1 violation against Jim Harbaugh with the NCAA Committee on Infractions. Level 2 violations relating to Jim Harbaugh's recruiting tactics and coaching hours and watching workouts over a Zoom call during the COVID dark period. All of these things on their own are a big deal that could potentially get a coach at a major university fired. But then you add in sign stealing. Then you put this whole case together and you have 3 investigations of significance going on at once at Michigan. And it's mind-numbing that Jim Harbaugh is going to get a significant raise to make him the highest paid head coach in the Big Ten. That I have a problem with, especially in the moment. And I don't think it's going to play well from a PR standpoint, because look where we are right now. You're at a point where tonight the College Football Playoff Committee is going to release their Week 1 rankings for the college football playoff. Is Michigan going to be in there? We're going to debate that coming up in about 10 minutes. I think there's a lot of validity to not have Michigan there. My thought is they probably will be there. I look at the situation around the Big Ten. You have massive expansion coming with power brands, right? So is it right now, when you have multiple scandals working at the same time under Jim Harbaugh, is now the time to make him the highest paid head coach in the league when he's got multiple years, 4 more years right now without an extension on the books at Michigan? It doesn't make a lot of sense, especially in our climate right now. I don't know. Michigan's going to Michigan. They're going to do what they think they need to do. And if they feel like they need to lock up and secure Jim Harbaugh for multiple years beyond these next 4, hey, let them do their thing. But the one thing that is clear here, this sign stealing, cheating scandal isn't going away, because we have new updates today related to Connor Stallions, the Michigan analyst that is at the center of this sign stealing scandal, if you will. I'd call it what you want. He was allegedly, because it has not been confirmed, he was on the sidelines at Central Michigan for their game against Michigan State. He was on the Central Michigan side of the field. He allegedly, if you believe the reports out there, was there to help Central Michigan beat Michigan State. He is in pictures. And Jake, before I show these pictures, do you think this is Connor Stallions?
Absolutely, 100%. No doubt about it. I think it looks just like him. I think that as you're about to see, one of these photos or one of the people in these photos looks nothing like the rest of the people. You know, there's only one person in these photos that, you know, somehow has a hat and sunglasses and has his arms folded and looks completely disengaged from what's going on. Like he stands out. Like when you look at the photo, a photo like this, right, on the right-hand side, right, Connor Stallions is clearly there and not coaching the team. He's clearly standing there observing. He noticed everybody else in the photo is like looking around. They're doing things. They seem in the moment. He's just there kind of like a statue. He stands out big time. That's
Connor Stallions allegedly on the right. And there's been a lot of conjecture about whether or not this is Connor Stallions. Well, if you look, here is the comparison side by side. My friends, that is Connor Stallions, in my opinion. And then you look at what the internet detectives have done. Well, of course, somebody went through the lengths to put the two pictures together. And my friends, that is Connor Stallions, in my opinion, in that picture. I don't know how you refute it anymore when you look at how closely it lines up. And I've seen all of the Michigan supporters saying, hey, that's another coach at Central Michigan. It's not, in my opinion. It's Connor Stallions. And the problem that this presents is that now you have Michigan football and the impact of their, which I don't think is in doubt anymore, the impact of their sign stealing operation now trickling down to Central Michigan. And I'd also point out the athletic director at Central Michigan said, I know nothing about this. We're doing an investigation. Here's the problem with that answer. And I know a lot of people are like, well, you can't prove anything. Here's the problem. They already know, because you look at the picture of Connor Stallions on that sideline. Look at that credential. Far right side of the screen, sunglasses. It's a night game. Why are you wearing sunglasses? If you look at the right side, there's a credential there that says VB on it. That stands for Visitors Bench. The only people that get a VB credential are coaches and game day personnel, trainers, doctors, coaches, interns, water boys. Those are the people. Do you understand how those VB credentials are handed out? Yeah, they're handed out with the authorization of the head coach and the athletic director. Full stop. That's it. Nobody else can make that list and authorize it. So they knew everybody on that list that was getting that. There's a big difference between a sideline credential and a VB credential. It allows you to be between those big, you'll notice on any football field, when you look at the bench area, there are big, fat, white lines that designate this is the bench area. Do not come in here. and the VB credential puts you in that bench area, excuse me. One other thing I want to point out about this picture. You will notice who is in this picture. There are multiple coaches. The gentleman on the far left is the head coach. That is the offensive coordinator. And then you have allegedly Connor Stallions, who would be standing very close to the coordinator, telling him, hey, here are the defensive plays coming in from Michigan State, because Connor allegedly had known, and I say allegedly because Central Michigan hasn't confirmed that that's him, but I think they're on the clock. He knew the signals at Michigan State. He was helping Central Michigan. It didn't work. They got their ass kicked. I think it was 31-7 was the final score. But the very fact he could have used Michigan resources to steal the signs at Michigan State. And while an employee at University of Michigan football, he is in Central Michigan garb on their sideline around their coaches, allegedly passing signals to them. Man, it just doesn't get any worse than this. Every time I say that, and every time we deliver an update on this Michigan sign stealing scandal, what do we say? Man, it can't get any worse than this.
Yeah, and what is being in that position allow Connor Stallions to do? Well, obviously, if you're the guy stealing signs and deciphering signs and everything, number one, it allows you to use Central Michigan as your test bunny. You want to make sure that the read you have on Michigan State is correct, which obviously, right. I would presume it would be.
Right.
And then, you want to see how that plays out. And then obviously you want to get another look. And that's why I say these guys are not good at cheating. I understand the strategy here, allegedly, out of Connor, because it hasn't been confirmed. So we have to say allegedly and pretend like it's not confirmed yet. Okay, cool. So allegedly, this guy's on the sideline. So my point is that, again, these guys aren't very good at cheating. Did you think you wouldn't get caught because you're standing there in a hat and sunglasses to disguise yourself and your arms are folded? Do you understand how much movement there is on a college football sideline? And if you're standing still, like you would actually quite literally stand out. That's what I don't understand about a guy who spends a ton of time on sidelines. That's what I don't get. Like, you stand out right there, dude. Like, we see you on the right. One is not like the other. One has a hat on, the rest of them don't. One has sunglasses on, the rest of them don't. And then most of them have headsets on, and one of them does not. Yeah. He stands out. So I don't know, man. I'll be very interested to see how this develops.
Is there any doubt in your mind that this is Connor Stallions?
I personally don't have a doubt that that's Connor Stallions.
So in your opinion, absolutely that's him.
100%. Yep.
Yeah, I have very little doubt that is him. And it again, it's just my opinion. And I would love to get your opinion in the comments section. Do you think that this is Connor Stallions from Michigan, and you see him in the Michigan hat, and some dude standing on the sideline at Central Michigan who looks a hell of a lot like Connor Stallions?
And if it wasn't him, are you telling me that a coach is... So if that's not Connor Stallions, let's pretend it's not Connor Stallions.
How?
And that's a coach. Okay. What is the other thing you notice, right? The guy who's not Connor Stallions is wearing a credential, a VB credential, and the rest of them are not. Right?
Yeah.
So you're telling me that a staffer or a coach or whatever position you would have just forgot to take their credential off?
Yeah, I'm not buying that.
You know what I mean? Like, there's so much about it that stands out as like he's out of place. And so that's why I personally, my opinion is that is absolutely Connor Stallions. But what's so mind-blowing to me about it is that this has now bled out of Michigan's program, right? Like, we're not just talking about, hey, inside the framework and box of Michigan trying to get an advantage. Now we're talking about bleeding into other programs that are 1,000% below Michigan, and, using them and leveraging them to try to gain your advantage as well. You didn't just go into the stands at all these games. Now we have you on the sideline.
Yeah, and I think one of the other interesting talking points is, well, hey, this shows you that Connor Stallions is a guy that's just out working for anybody who will pay him. And to that, I think you'd have a hard time proving that because he's on staff at Michigan. And he has relationships on that Central Michigan staff. So I think he's absolutely down to help his friends. And I think we've heard that he's been down to help his friends in the past. And this is a terrible look, man. This is a really, really bad look, and it just keeps compounding.
And don't forget the Michigan manifesto he wrote, right? I mean, This guy is not out just to get paid. This guy wanted to be the head coach of Michigan football.
The curator, the head coach, the architect of returning Michigan to greatness. I mean, it's remarkable. I don't know. A lot of me feels like, dude, I just don't understand. Is there so much glory in winning and having your legacy tainted that you don't care about the legacy tainted part? All you care about the winning part? Because it doesn't appear to me the Big Ten's going to take action, because the Big Ten is well aware, and we have a lot of time before we have to do that. We have a lot of time before the season ends, before the college football playoff begins. And it seems like every day we get new details on this story. But are you really telling me that Michigan is not going to take any action against this Jim Harbaugh team? Man, I just cannot believe that. But giving him an extension now tells me you're not going to take action against him. And it's shocking to me. I don't understand it.
Yeah, I don't know what. Like, I'm trying to sit here and have been trying to sit here since we found this out and process, like, okay, what's the upside for Michigan outside of, hey, a new contract or an extension, allows us to put fresh verbiage in there to protect ourselves. But there has to be something in addition to that. There's got to be an additional angle that you're playing, and I don't know what that angle would be right now, but I can't believe that you're willing to take the discipline that inevitably is going to come from this, number one, but then number two, take the beating in the media over extending this guy. I mean, at a minimum, something's going on here now. I mean, I think we're way past saying nothing's happened here. I mean, there's just too much now to say, oh, yeah, well, media's just blowing this out of proportion.
Yeah, it's wild.
We're past that.
It's absolutely wild. Let's get your opinion on it on the Monty Show. As we do every day at this time, we remind you the comment section is presented by our good friends at Bucked Up Energy. Yes, we had a technical glitch. No, I did not put the link to the Bucked Up shots in there yesterday. My bad. Thank you, YouTube. My bad. The link for free buckshot, 6 of these free buckshots, is in the description below. Get on our YouTube channel. Get on, if you're listening on our audio podcast, hello to everybody on Spotify. Our Spotify numbers have never been higher. Thank you so much for participating in the show on Apple, Google Play, iHeartMedia, Spotify. Thank you so much for supporting our show. Without you guys, we could not do what we do. That's why we give you free buckshot. Go get them right now. If you're somebody that takes any of the other energy shots that are provided, things like 5-Hour Energy, compare the ingredients. You're getting 200 milligrams of naturally sourced caffeine right here for your energetic pleasure in a bottle with a bunch of brain food. That's quite literally what you have. Notice what you don't have: a bunch of artificial flavors, a bunch of artificial colors, a bunch of sugar. You're getting elite ingredients that make an elite product that does exactly what it says it's going to do. We hit them every day on the show. And for the next 2.5 hours, we're going to finish strong. Cheers to you, friends. I love it. I'm all in on Blue Raz right now. I'm on a Blue Raz run. As you may know, I am a watermelon fan as well. You decide. Sampler pack, buckshot from Bucked Up. Get them in the description below. If you need supplements, I will also say thank you for everybody who shouted me out. I saw in the comment section talking about I look thinner. Yes, I look thinner because I am thinner and I've lost weight. And I can only do that with my friends at Bucked Up, whether it is their racked BCAAs that's got all the carnitine in it that helps you process fat better, helps you lose fat, helps you have more energy, whether it is the 6-point creatine, whether it is the whey protein isolate, the collagen peptides, the greens, you name it, we hit it. Their pre-workout, if you're a gym guy, I'm a 5 a.m. gym guy. The pre-workout from Bucked Up is the industry standard. It is award-winning. Go get it right now. Use the promo code Monty. Get 20% off at checkout at buckedup.com. Let's get into the comments section. Now, let's go all the way back to the top.
Yeah, back to the top.
I always am amazed who are the first. And of course, it's Dakota Tubbs. The first one in today, Dakota Tubbs.
I'm for real.
Good to see you. Dibs gets the first like. The Buffalo Hunter. Good to see you. Jeff Woodworth says fifth, but like Ollie Gordon the best. Exactly. Exactly. Big Blue Horses. Can we stop using the word bombshell? It's lost all meaning. Well, first of all, I don't think there's any doubt this is a bombshell.
Yeah.
That your one of your assistants is on the sideline wearing another school's colors, allegedly helping that team beat Michigan State, your in-state rival. Yeah, that's a bombshell. That's a bombshell. That Jim Harbaugh has 3 ongoing NCAA investigations and 1 with the FBI, and you're giving him an extension, that's a bombshell. I'm going to say that's not just, clickbait, which, yeah, we absolutely traffic and clickbait because, well, we want people to click on our thumbnails
and
on
stuff,
YouTube. That's what we do.
Right.
But I think it's remarkable they're giving him a contract.
Yeah.
I truly do. Tanner Plummer, what's up? Coach Stallions doesn't really have a good ring to it. No, it doesn't. No, it does not. Mike Smith, Connor Stallions, professional sign-stealing mercenary.
Yeah, man.
Apparently.
He's an assassin.
Johnny Gonzalez. What's up, Johnny? Michigan Manifesto is the name of Harbaugh's memoirs,
Right.
which he'll have plenty of time to write because I still don't think he survives this. Can he survive this?
I don't see any way. I mean, the only path to survival is just taking it on the chin. Like, hey, this is what you guys did. This is the discipline, and whether that suspension is a year or whatever, I don't know what that looks like yet, obviously.
Whew.
But you just take the discipline on the chin and you move forward. And that's just what it is. Now, the program, I have to believe, would take an absolute beating because if he's suspended, why would you want to go and play there? If you're going to have to play at Michigan, you can play at other places.
You will have to resign yourself from postseason play this year. If that is Connor Stallions helping another team beat your in-state rival, you're going to have, there's no way you can participate. There's just no way. Outside the echo chamber, pretty sure BYU and Utah do all of this to each other. Pretty sure they don't. And I can say pretty sure because there's no FBI investigation into computer crimes at BYU or Utah.
Seriously.
I know I'm out on a limb. Buckeye Bob. Boy, every day is a good day for Buckeye Bob right now. If that's Stallions, it's over. Totally agree. Michigan will have to forfeit games and be DQ'd. And what happens to Central Michigan? How do you justify allowing Connor Stallions on your sideline? He's not an employee of yours, yet he's in coaching gear. And what exactly was he doing there? A coach is going to lose his job over that because you're going to have approved him. He did everything in his own name. Venmo, bought tickets, everything in his own name. So are you really telling me all of a sudden there's a John Doe on the VB list? Come on.
It's incredible how much lack of, they're just not intimidated by the
Not
NCAA.
at all.
They don't care.
They don't care at all. B says, and he's wearing a visitor's badge. Well, what that VB means is visitor's bench, which is the most exclusive credential you can get. Because, again, it's only for game day personnel. That's it. It is not for media. It is not for boosters. It is not for donors. They get sideline passes. This is not a sideline pass. This is a pass to get you into the area of the visitor's bench.
Yeah, it's damning. The way that,
yes.
The photo is really interesting because the longer you look at it, the more stuff you realize. And him having his arms crossed like that and then the VB being right under his arms, he's like covering half the credential except the part that matters most, is just an incredible turn of events.
Yeah, that's absolutely rough. Dav DeBoss. Okay. I just went to CM website. No coaching staff look like that guy. Oops, busted. Well, there was this big argument that there was a coach on their coaching roster at Central Michigan who was that guy. And so everybody was scrubbing video of that game and they found him and he was completely shaved. He had no facial hair. Could not have been that guy. And that guy is significantly, dare I say, thicker than Connor Stallions.
He's big bone.
Right? It looks nothing like him.
Yeah.
And I'll just keep playing this video. that internet sleuths put together. Man, I don't know how
Look at that.
it goes together perfectly. It goes together perfectly. And yeah, he's a mouth breather. I saw that all over Twitter today. But it's these two pictures you just watched combined. Like it is, I mean, my guy, you're exactly the same dude. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I cannot believe the just don't care attitude that this dude had standing on other people's sidelines.
Yeah, I mean, it's truly
remarkable.
It is, when football coaches always say, hey, my team is going to embody my personality and they're going to embody the way I go about running a program. It's Jim Harbaugh's brazenness bleeding through his program, literally. Like, you have this staffer, Connor Stallions, operating the same way with the same philosophies that Jim would operate with. So that's why, to me, this has always made so much sense, because Jim's always been that guy. Jim's always been the one that hasn't really cared as much and is willing to break the recruiting rules in the dark period, allegedly, and do all that. Like, dude, at some point, you got to care.
Well, several people are texting me saying that Central Michigan does not have Connor Stallions on their list that day.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that means or how much credibility is there. I have not seen that report, but a bunch of people are texting me. So I'm assuming that there is some credibility in that. I would get, I don't, how do you prove that? I mean, first of all, can Central Michigan come out and say, yeah, sure enough, bro, that was Connor Stallions? They're not going to come out and say that. They're not going to do that because they cannot.
Yeah.
There is no way that Central Michigan can come out and say, oh yeah, that was him. He was on our sidelines. Everybody's fired. Like, are you kidding me? They're not going to be able to do that. So I'm curious. Oh my goodness. Now, 3 minutes ago, The Athletic has obtained more photos of the goateed sunglasses person on Central Michigan's sideline. Oh my goodness.
Come on, guy.
I mean, this looks almost these pictures, and I'm going to grab them real quick. These pictures look very similar. And now, I mean, it's even similar mannerisms to the way that he was acting at Michigan. I mean, this is wild to me.
I think the thing that's so crazy is like this thing you just said about he's not on the list allegedly for that day, for the visitors bench credential list. So to me, that says, and again, my opinion, that's him in the pictures. You're about to see better pictures. I think it just solidifies that. But to me, that says a couple of things. Number one, look at that. Look at him.
That looks like him.
That looks like him, man. And to me, if he's not on the list, but he had this kind of access, what does that say? Well, that says to me that somebody knew somebody who had enough power to get him one of those credentials without him being on the list. And anybody in the sports world knows that game goes on. It goes on. People get credentials and they're not on the list. It's all about who you know. So to me, that's a total possibility.
I am sure that if this is in fact Stallions, I mean, look at the hand on the chin and everything. Like it's awfully difficult when you go back and look at the pictures of him at Michigan, and you look at the way that he conducts himself. Bro, like it is really hard to believe if you look at that picture that's not Connor Stallions.
I think you're exactly right. The mannerisms match, and I think what's tough is like, to me when I first looked at these pictures and I was like, all right, let me give this a real honest like attempt to debunk that this is actually him. The thing that I struggle with is the jawline and the way his ears pop out, right? Because his ears are not real flat to his head.
You guys want to know where we are in the Connor Stallions situation? People analyzed the shape and diameter and dimension of his ears and found that it was a match. So that's where we are with this cat, where we're like, what are we? I mean, come on. What
and
are
the
we
questions
doing?
that come to mind when I think about Central Michigan's role in this is like, all right, what kind of deal did Central Michigan have with Michigan and Jim? Like, was it, hey, we're just going to help you get a big win and probably the game of your season against Michigan State, or one of the games of your season at a minimum? With that, we're gonna send Connor. It helps us. It helps you. Everyone wins. I mean, is that what we did? Did we just do a handshake deal? I mean, certainly nothing's on paper, but you kind of get what I'm saying. Like, was it that? Was it friendly on all sides, or did Michigan go in there, strong arm them with something, and say, hey, we're doing this whether you like it or not? I don't know. But what I struggle with is, even if Central Michigan did beat Michigan State, which they didn't, and it wasn't close.
Which they did not.
But let's say that they had. What then was the reward for Central Michigan? Because it's not like that win gets you anything. I mean, honestly, like, what were you trying to do here?
I really don't know. And the funny thing is I'm grabbing a bunch of pictures. If you guys are, and here is this photo, right? That is Connor Stallions, or the alleged Connor Stallions, on the sideline at Central Michigan. And you look at him here, like, I mean, it looks just like him. And if that's not him, tell me it's not a doppelganger, right? If that's not him, bro, are you telling me this is not the same guy? Like, I just have real trouble believing that, and you look at these pictures again, just look at the way he's standing in some of these Michigan pictures. Like, he's got his arms crossed, right? And you look at this picture here, the guy's standing with his arms like almost the exact same way. Notice that his left arm, right? His left arm is under his right arm. You guys, this is no longer, dude. These new pictures of him on the sideline are not a good look for Connor Stallions. This is bad news. This is very, very bad news. And
I don't think
it just keeps getting deeper.
Can you think of a time when a college football playoff caliber football team is allegedly colluding with a lower end team like Central Michigan? I mean, I can't think of another time when something even in the same atmosphere, even in the same galaxy, even has happened here. Because
I can't think of a time.
This is I'm still baffled by it. If I'm Central Michigan and Michigan comes to me and says, "Hey, we'd like to put this guy on the sideline, on your bench specifically in your coach's gear," what are you saying if you're Central Michigan? Because I'm just sitting here wondering, like, what would Michigan had to have done?
What's the win?
Like, how do you make this happen if you're Michigan? Because Central Michigan is essentially just playing to get to bowl games every year, because that's what you want to do at that level. You want to get to your bowl game. You want to make that money and roll it over again. That's all you're trying to do. You're not trying to win a national championship. And so there's really no advantage to having Connor on your sideline, especially against Michigan State, who clearly is a better team than you are. So looking at these photos, he's right in the middle of all your stuff, allegedly. So my question is, was there payment involved? What was the win for Central Michigan?
Look at the way he holds himself. Look at like the pictures of him at Michigan. Look at what he's holding in his hand. He's holding white cardstock. He's holding. You can see in this one here on the left, that's him with his hand behind his head there. And what do you notice? He's got a blue card. What do you know, or a laminated card? What do you notice here? Like, he's got paper stock, like he's got his notes. He's holding a clipboard. That's not the gear of a coach who's holding a clipboard. It truly is not. And again, you look at the way he's got his arms crossed. Right? I don't know. Maybe I'm making too much out of this, but it's awfully difficult. It's a doppelganger situation. If you're going to tell me, like, if you look at some of the pictures that are coming out of this alleged character, like this, I'm dumbfounded by this.
It's
You
incredible.
guys, look at how close this picture that I'm going to show you here. Like, you see Connor Stallions, Michigan on the right, not Connor Stallions, Central Michigan on the left. Look at this dude. Arms crossed again.
Look at what's in his hand, just like you said.
A clipboard and a marker again. And you just start to understand that this is how this dude does business. The same gear is in his hand. I'm sorry. It's my opinion. I'm
Right?
not saying that there's fact on this. Dudes, this guy, he is him. That's him.
Yes,
That
Himmy,
is-
bro.
That is Himmy Stallions.
Yeah.
My opinion. Like, are you serious with this evidence? Like, how are we even, like, I just keep hitting refresh on Google searches. How are we even questioning this now? I really don't know.
Well, my only question is, how deep does the rabbit hole go? That's why this is taking time. Dude, we've graduated. That's why this is a bombshell. With all due respect to whoever that was. That's why this is a bombshell. We've graduated to a new level in the game today.
It's amazing.
Which is, hey, we're now involving another program who is scheming with us. There's no way to deny that, if that is proven to be him, which I just don't know how. Look at that.
Look at this picture.
Look at in this picture right here. What I want you guys to notice, I know it's a small detail. Look at how grown in the facial hair is, right? Then you go over to one of the Central Michigan photos and you notice, hey, he's really grown in there, right? On the goatee.
Yeah.
It's really grown in. Look at that.
Yeah.
Tell me
I don't.
that's not him. Come on.
I don't know. The only thing I question is Connor Stallions of late has been a bald-headed dude. And in these pictures on the sideline, you can see in the top left, he's got hair. That's the only argument. But, bro, you look at this picture. Look at this picture right here. He's holding the exact same stuff.
And you know what I would say to that? You know what
Look
I'd
at
say
all
to
of
that?
this.
Dude, if you're Connor Stallions, are you not trying to change your appearance right now? Are you not trying to, like, grow your hair out and look
Yes.
different and like
Oh my God.
dude, like
These
you're
new
making
pictures.
changes.
These new pictures are damning. Holy cow. I mean, it is.
Truly something we've never seen before.
Yeah, I've never seen anything like this.
I'm still the biggest thing here. I'm not, to be honest with you, I'm not surprised as much that we would catch him on a sideline as I'm surprised that another program would get involved in this thinking they weren't going to get caught. Like, again, what's the sales package? Hey, Central Michigan, we need to put our guy on your sideline and he needs to be in full coach's gear and he needs to blend in. Okay,
It's
great.
remarkable.
What do we get? Well, you get a win over Michigan State because he's got Michigan State signals. Or, hey, you get X amount of money because that's the only other thing I could think of. Central Michigan could use the money, right? You're a smaller end program, not a bad program, just a smaller end program, and an additional $3 million, let's say. Let's just call it a couple mil. Scratch off a couple mil out of that budget Jim's got. Great. Come on, man. Come on.
Like it is, as we flip through these photos, I mean, it's very difficult to deny. And I hope it's not, honestly, you guys, and I don't root one way or the other 9 days out of 10. I hope this is not Connor Stallions. Because this is a different kind of Jim Harbaugh. Because Connor Stallions is not going to risk his career at Michigan to go to another university. And like, it makes you wonder, hey, did Connor have somebody in the stands that day? And he was just, apparently it was an off day. Like, are you, I don't know, man. This is a really bad look. This is a really bad look because this guy, Connor Stallions, I mean, I want somebody to look at me the way Connor Stallions looks at Jim Harbaugh. I do. I don't know, man. Come on. This is too much now. And I know, like you said, this is a bombshell.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're pissed. You're clickbaiting. Damn right. This is a game changer. This is absolutely game changer. All right, let's get your comments in here. Ryan Willie, in my opinion, the University of Michigan thinks it's untouchable. I agree. Absolutely right. Harry Austin, Come on, Monty. You know why he wears sunglasses at night. Corey Hart has a classic song. Do 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 do. Do you know that song?
Yes.
I wear my sunglasses at night so I can.
Yes, iconic.
So I can. Whatever.
Gosh, and now we can't play it because Fox is copywriting it, but there's video of him going around Twitter now too.
Oh yeah, it's everywhere. Good.
Dude.
Corey Hart reference there, Harry. Harry, every day that you're here, you're much more my Jim Harbaugh, and I'm not going to say it. I'm your Connor Stallions, Harry. That's a good pull, Corey Hart. That's Clark Kent, not Connor. Oh,
Okay.
Oh, okay. I get it. Shaner, 69.420% Connor Stallions. I'm with you. I'm not quite at 70, but 69.4. I could be bought though. Apparently, so can Connor Stallions.
Apparently.
Hero 75 for $5. Does the field pass change all that much from year to year or game to game? Couldn't Stallions have used an old badge? It changes every year. It changes every year.
They rebrand them. The colors change. It changes.
That's mandatory usually through your conference, because the conference is the one that controls game day access. They basically are going to tell you, hey, here are the criteria. These people get this credential. And then you're kicking that down the campus police, security, your security firm, however your ushers are handled. Yeah, it's not a small endeavor. Ryan Willie, the Big Ten has always sat on their hands with scandals.
Well, that's just facts. I mean,
there's a lot of unanswered questions in the Big Ten scandal world. So I can't say I disagree with you on that, Ryan. Eric says, seriously, Urban Meyer to Michigan State isn't a story for you guys? Come on. Urban Meyer's not going to Michigan State. Come on. And I saw that. Man, so many people are like, this Connor Stallions thing is, I don't usually get, I mean, I'm not saying I don't, but I don't usually get 100 DMs in a day. But this is remarkable. And again, I want to make sure people know this. Central Michigan is investigating this, but they're saying that this is not Connor Stallions. Or at least I shouldn't say that. They're saying he's not on the pass list that day. Which
could be them denying it, or it could be them saying, hey, this goes a lot deeper than we even knew about.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. That is, if that's not him, the problem is if it is him, a bunch of people are getting fired at Central Michigan.
Yeah.
Because there's no way to get around that.
Not everybody can get an extension when there's 3, investigations happening.
Yeah, it's big time. It truly is. And I think when you make the money they make in college football, it's a lot of bread to lose a gig like this. And the only place you're going to make that is trydaytrading.com/Monty. So you might want to get into the 30-day trial membership, Harbaugh, right now at trydaytrading.com/Monty. Do you guys know what day trading is? It is a way to get out of your job. Every morning, I know that there's listeners, because I hear from you guys, that say, is this legit at Tri-Day Trading? Because I hate my boss. I'm tired of my boss. It pisses me off. I have to go back to the office. I hate my commute. Jake and I texting this morning. I live 10 minutes from my studio. It took me 25 minutes to get to the office today. There's a lot of people who can't stand their commutes, right? TryDayTrading.com/Monty. That's how you get out of your commute. Because see, what you're going to understand is when you day trade full time, you'll make $1,000 a day or more on average. And what I mean by that is when it's your only gig, because day trading in the morning takes you 90 minutes. In the evening, it takes you 90 minutes. Program your trades and walk away. But I can tell you, my wife is in the TryDayTrading.com program. It is thrilling. It's exciting. It makes your heart race. You're watching your money grow. It is really spectacular. And the best part about the Tri-Day Trading $10 30-day trial membership is that when you get into that program, day one, you're trading. They're putting you into the system. They're getting you the software. They assign you a trading coach. They're telling you, hey, here are the indicators we're looking for. This is our process. This is how we trade. Here's an account so that you can trade offline, where you're watching the markets in real time and you're trading and you're learning to trade by trading. That's the best part. The second best part, when you graduate the Tri-Day program, they fund a trading account for you with their own money. And you start trading with their money. Your first trades are not with your money. It's with Tri-Day's money. And when you're ready to trade your money, you walk away from it and you start trading your own money. Is that a day, a month? Maybe it's 5 years. You can stay in their program as long as you want. And when you're ready and you're comfortable, have at it. Now, you're going to get up to 80% of the profit when you trade with their money. Maybe you want that hundo P right out the door. It's fit into your life and into your financial situation. But think about that. If I said to you, you can make $240,000 a year. Is that a raise for you? Is that more money? Is that less money? Is that Disney vacations? Is that the house you've always dreamed of? Is that the car you've always dreamed of? Maybe that's just paying your house off quicker or your car loans off quicker. Maybe you're tired of student loan debt. Maybe you're tired of credit card debt. TridayTrading.com/Monty. Hook it up. A $10 charitable donation gets you a 30-day trial membership at TridayTrading.com. Aaron Wilson. Hello, sir.
Let's go, baby.
Thank you, Aaron. Gifting a membership to the Showroom. Appreciate that. For $9.99 a month, you guys get into our exclusive members-only Instagram group. What a group of dudes. And it's going to qualify you for our Raider giveaway for a trip for two for the weekend in Las Vegas, December 9th and 10th. Details on that coming up as well. And Donuts, my man, how are you? Is Connor available? Signed Oklahoma. Seriously. Johnny Gonzalez. Whitey Bulger is the new coach at CMU. We've gone full mobster. Aaron Wilson, I'm starting Tri-Day trading soon. It's $10.
It's awesome, man.
You guys, and I kid you not, a lot of people say, well, I'll start it next month. It's $10 for a charity donation. By the time next month gets here, you could be out of the trial membership already. Like, go get it. You can start now, you can start in a month, but again, every day you wait is money you're not making. TridayTrading.com/Monty.
Dad,
Honey, what's wrong?
I got in an accident.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
Okay, did you call the police yet?
Yeah, I did.
I'm going to call an advocate and you can tell us both at the same time, okay?
Hey, Sarah, your dad told me that you need help.
So, is there anything that I need to do? Or...
Just focus on getting better.
With an advocate on your side, you're never alone.
Today's the day. And look who I just met.
Hey, Dad.
You deserve a worry-free recovery. You deserve an advocate.
There is no update on the Michigan football story.
What?
I think a lot of people were waiting for today to see, hey, is there going to be an update? And we are waiting for the news to hit the. Is this a real story? Oh my God. Oh my God. This cannot be true. This cannot be true. Okay, I have to do screen. You've got to.
Here we go.
You have got to be kidding me.
It's probably different than what you're thinking, though.
I want you to look at this. This cannot be. Stop it. This cannot get any crazier. This story at Michigan cannot get worse than this. It's not possible that he did this. This is the attorney's filing for Jim Harbaugh. Okay, read that. Get comfortable with it. Really well done. Lawyers speak, right? You're like, God damn, this guy's a great writer. Wonder, man, did he go to like literature school? Did he, he was born with a gift, right? No, not necessarily. See, he copied it almost word for word from a Michigan blog. You have got to be kidding me. Jim Harbaugh's lawyer. Word for word. There is no rule in the Big Ten handbook that would allow the commissioner to bypass the NCAA and the Big Ten's compliance and reinstatement subcommittee.
Dude, what are you doing?
Because the commissioner feels pressure to act quickly.
Guy. Bro. Okay.
Are you serious
So
with this?
you talked all this junk yesterday. And now we find out you went Ja Morant ChatGPT on this thing and took it right from a Michigan blog? Dude, how are we supposed to take you seriously, dog? Like, what? Dude.
Okay, hey, this is my attorney, Tom Mars. Now look, guys.
No, his name is Holden Hiscock.
This is my attorney, Holden Hiscock. Look, this is Tom Mars. He's my attorney. Not only do I pay him $1,000 an hour, but look at the khakis he got me. This cat is a good attorney.
Dude.
How much do you think Jim Harbaugh's paying this guy to copy his legal filings from a Michigan blog?
You ought to know you bought it.
This is incredible, dude.
Are you crazy?
I don't even know. How do you can't make this up, dude. You literally, you can't make it up.
I have never seen this shit in my life. That you are the lawyer for Jim Harbaugh and you file a brief, your response right from a MGO blog. Oh man, I don't have time to write this shit. Anybody know, like, is there Wolverine fan obsession.com? Yeah, it's mblog, mblue, gold ball, blueballs.com, blueballs.com. Like, it's word for word.
How?
It's the provision is like right there. It's word for word.
Who does that?
It's unambiguous and has no exceptions. There is no rule in the conference handbook. There is no rule in the Big Ten handbook that would allow the commissioner to bypass the NCAA. It's word for word. You didn't even try.
Suckmyass.com.
Don't you lose automatically for
You
plagiarism?
lose all credibility.
This is you
all
plagiarized
credibility.
You plagiarized it.
Those statements are not true, and I ask that you strike them.
How? You guys,
it's embarrassing,
how?
Dude. It is absolutely embarrassing.
Oh my God!
You got caught doing this.
You're
counting on the
fact.
fact.
Oh my God!
This is what we said yesterday. Go back and listen. We said this specifically. They are counting on the fact that nobody actually reads the print.
It makes my head hurt. It makes my head hurt. And I want to believe the best in people. But the problem is when you go to this, it's written by RYM, who's a member for 4 years and 2 months. And I mean, you can see, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe this.
It's incredible.
I give up, man. Like I seriously, this guy's got to be $1,000 an hour lawyer if he works for Jim Harbaugh, right?
Has to be. Yeah.
This guy, and you're literally, you guys here. I have the link to the post, and this is right off this dude's blog. Like, I'm looking at it.
And give Buddy credit. The blogger wrote this thing well.
He did. And if I was in a hurry, okay, but I'm $1,000 in it. Don't you have I watch Suits, man. They have paralegals.
Yeah, dude.
Where's fucking Mike Ross when you need him? Are you telling me you don't have a Mike Ross when you represent Jim Harbaugh? Like, how, man? I'm amazed. I'm flabbergasted. I can't believe it. It is.
I never thought that the update today would be, Michigan attorney copies filing from Michigan blog. Nice, dude.
And it's out there now.
Fucking donkey.
It's out there now because Adam Rittenberg from ESPN is now retweeting it. All the ESPN people are on it. Oh, my God. And I already agree that most of ESPN wants Jim Harbaugh's they're after that ass, man. Like, they want Dad Bod God dead.
It's a defense.
Like, and now
Jim, it's a no fence, sir.
I can't believe this.
juicy.
I give up.
What are the people saying?
I don't know. How do you?
Please don't copy and paste your comment from the blog.
Mrs. Monty is in the room.
Oh.
His lawyer probably wrote the blog. No, smarty pants. You think you and your cute dog are going to get the free pass on this? So I come home last night, and my 87-year-old terrier mix is just like kind of wandering around the house.
Right.
He's got that look in his eyes like, yeah, do I want to live or die?
Oh, dear.
No.
Oh, my.
You guys should probably dig a hole in the backyard because it might be time. And my wife proceeds to tell me she's on a call with a bunch of people in a different time zone because she's like a big deal. And she comes down and I'm like, she's like, come on, let's go outside. I'm like, he was just outside. She's like, oh, good, because he was falling over trying to drink earlier. So my dog is 15 and he's older and he smokes weed every day. So he's got heart problems. And so we like give him heart medication. And like, I was really upset. We were researching how much dog cremation is. And
okay. Jesus Christ, dude.
But that's the life I live now.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
And Mrs. Monty's like, oh, she's sending me videos today. She's like, look, he's so cute. And he walked up the stairs by himself. And if my dog dies, it's going to be a long Thanksgiving trip in Hawaii. Just live until, like, don't die while I'm in Hawaii. Just when I get back home, look, dude, if you want to check out, totally fine. Which, can I just get my probably sounds insensitive. Jason, that's Mish for you. It's a diversity supporting school.
I can't believe this. How?
And if you're just tuning in, Jim Harbaugh's lawyer copy and pasted a response from a Michigan blog to the proposed penalty. What do you bet the lawyer Googled arguments against suspension of Jim Harbaugh? Very well could have. Gary Wolf, now Harbaugh's lawyer is a plagiarizer. Where does this insanity train finally stop? Do you fire him for that? Don't you fire him for that? Like, if you're the lawyer and the phone rings and there's a picture of a god in khakis, are you like,
hello,
oh boy,
we're not available now. Please leave your name and phone number after the beep.
And don't you answer it, Louis Litt. Hello. I watch too much TV. I'm in awe of this. I cannot even believe it. I cannot even believe that he did. The Jim Harbaugh's lawyer, quite literally, and I want to make sure you guys know we're not making this up. Here's Jim Harbaugh's lawyer. His written response. This is his written response, and he copy and pasted it. Tom Mars is the lawyer's name. There's the blog, word for word, dudes. Word for word. How do you,
dude? I don't know why you can't just write it yourself.
How? They stole someone's signs. LOL. They did. They did. I believe it was true when I wrote it. Michigan lawyer guy. Yeah, exactly.
Steeler guy.
Coincidence. What?
Yeah, what are you, Connor Stallions?
M-STEM, when you cheat in college, the professor doesn't tell you you miss 4 classes. You don't get you do not get the cheated grade. Forfeit the games during the cheated period. Well, that's an NCAA one. Brandon Butler, don't you get kicked out of Michigan for plagiarism? Apparently not the law school. Joseph Harper, did SSG write that blog? It's unbelievable to me.
No redos.
It's unbelievable. I don't even know what you say to that. I don't even know what you say. I don't even know what you say to that. It's unbelievable. OG Gary, Mrs. Monty, your man is wildin'. Jim Harbaugh's lawyer. No. The Todd father, I carried my 15-year-old dog to go to the bathroom for 6 months because my wife wouldn't let me put him down. Don't make same mistake, dude. My dog is amazing. I have a really great dog.
Little update. We have our first entry for tickets.
Oh.
Chris Dibburn has DM'd me with a picture that he's entered the trial at Tri-Day Trading.
I like it, Chris. Okay,
Well
you guys,
done.
just so you know, we are giving you tickets to any game of your choice. Regular season game, no bowl games, playoff games, none of that. If you go to trydaytrading.com/Monty, sign up for the $10 30-day free trial. Because it's a free trial because the $10 is a tax deduction because they give it to charity. Does not go in their pockets. And you get their entire program for 30 days free. And if you sign up for that and you send us a DM or tweet it at us, SLC Jake, or you can send it to me, The Monty Show, MONTY, The Monty Show. If you do that, we'll put you into the pot. And tomorrow, in about 23 hours and 40 minutes from now, we're going to announce our first winner. And we'll give you tickets to any game you want.
And right now, Chris is on the lead.
He is the first one.
Let's go.
All you got to do, go to trydaytrading.com/Monty. Sign up for the 30-day $10 trial membership. It's $10. We'll give you tickets to any game you want, no matter where you are. If you're a Michigander, if you are an Ohio State fan and you want to go to the Big House, if you're a Michigan fan and you want to watch Ohio State come kick your ass, if you're a Penn State fan and you want to go to Happy Ending Valley and you want to be one of the Fighting Paternos this weekend against Michigan, let's go. 24 hours from now, we'll announce the winner. trydaytrading.com/Monty. Sign up for the $10 30-day trial membership, ticket to your choice. That's all you got to do. Michigan fans coming in to throw gang signs.
Apparently.
Okay. Matt Riley, that's Connor's third job. Sign stealer, vacuum repairman, and fan blogger.
Sign stealer guy.
Dude. And you're paying this guy. Hey, what's up, Mad Cat? Good to see you, dude. That's going to go over real smoothly in court.
Because it's illegal.
Can you believe he did this?
I don't break the rules.
Am I making too much? I'm kind of outraged over it.
It's embarrassing.
You're an attorney in a major case, and you copied your response off of a Michigan fan blog?
I just thought that you would appreciate me treating you like an adult.
Come on, man. Gary Wolf, Harbaugh's attorney is from Dewey, Screw 'em, and How, PLLC. Dewey, Screw 'em, and How.
I wonder if Blake Corum and this attorney hang out too.
God, dog. Jesse, college football is truly the American sports. God bless. Seriously, man, like it is. Do we always have to cheat, steal, and take shortcuts? Like, just make your damn bed every day, dude. Jason, the Michigan stupidity is entertaining drama. It truly is. It truly is. Lance Johnson, the UM looks so stupid and not very intellectual right now. They should realize that for the long-term health of the university, they should fire Jim Harbaugh. I think you have to fire Jim Harbaugh.
Just, you know what the problem with this is? This would be different. This lawyer thing we just found out about would be different if we weren't talking about a cheating scandal at Michigan. But we are talking about a cheating scandal at Michigan, and you just got caught cheating the process. And Michigan, once again, is right in the middle of, hey. Excuse me.
Choke on it, boy.
I'm dying.
Hey, boy. Yeah, I can't believe that in the middle of a scandal that we're sitting here and Jim Harbaugh's lawyer has copied his response to the allegations from a Michigan blog. Here's Tony Petitti saying XYZ. Oh, well, Tony, you can't do XYZ according to this Michigan fan blog. Are you done dying?
Dying.
You okay? You gonna make it?
No.
I just can't even. I can't even. I cannot even. I don't understand it. Gumby fresh out. Don't die, Jake.
I'm trying not to.
People are worried about you,
dude.
People are worried about you. Real Wade Nation gaming clips. Who's worse, Michigan State? I think Michigan is too trigger happy. There's not even a comparison between what Michigan and Michigan State have done. Nothing. Not even a comparison. Jimmy Otson, Michigan is a really good school, prestigious even. I'm not joking. No, it's a phenomenal institution. Is that in question? The University of Michigan, and we've talked about this. I think we even said this today. Those are wildly intelligent people. Those are good people, smart people, good at their jobs, that, like they know what they're doing.
Which is what makes it even more shocking.
And somehow they put themselves in the middle of this situation. And I honestly, I don't know how. I want to. I don't know how.
Doesn't it make your lawyer's response yesterday even less credible?
Dude. I don't. Joseph Harper. Guy.
I'm sorry.
Learn. Choking out. Geez, the Pacers are thumping Milwaukee. Nobody cares. Now, new reality show of fall season, Keeping Up with the Wolverines. Seriously. Gonzalez. Ewers is back this weekend. Texas rolls. I think Texas is the best team in the country. And I think at 8-1, I think if you are Texas, everything is on that Iowa State game next week. I mean, everything you have. Because I think TCU is in a bad way. TCU's in a bad way. I think you should be able to win that game. And I know it's in Fort Worth. I get it. TCU's not the same TCU.
No.
And I think if Quinn Ewers can get ready and play well enough that they win at TCU, you've got to put everything you can do in Ames next weekend to win that game. Because I actually think that Iowa State is going to give Texas a run for their money, dude. Like it is going to be absolute. You guys ready? It's going to be absolute bedlam in Ames next week. Yes!
Nice job.
Ollie Gordon won't be there, but Jeff Woodworth. Maybe this will give Petiti a backbone. Well, we haven't heard Zippo from Tony Petiti, who did not, by the way, go to the college football playoff committee meeting today. So we'll see. Gummy fresh out. UW, Oregon, Tejas. Okay.
Tejas.
Do you guys really think Washington's better than Oregon? Because I'm not convinced. I am not convinced. I
think Washington's offense is better than Oregon's. I think the ability for Washington to put up the kind of performance they put up against Oregon is special. I think there's a reason, there's a reason not everybody can do what they did to Oregon. Like Oregon thumps Utah, and I wasn't all that surprised, honestly, because Utah's offense is just not good.
Trash, bro.
But Washington made a statement, and I think that, if they play 10 times, Oregon's going to win 5-6 of those games. But I do think Washington, you have to give them the edge until Oregon gets another shot.
When you've been injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Insurance companies don't always play fair, but we can keep them in check. Most cases settle out of court, but we'll take your case to trial if necessary. You deserve an advocate.
The University of Michigan has fired recruiting analyst Connor Stallions, a source tells Yahoo Sports. He was previously suspended with pay during the NCAA investigation into in-person scouting.
Sign stealer guy.
Well, that's a big to-do. That's a big to-do. And I think one of the things we've talked about on this show, and we talked about it earlier today, if you're just tuning in here on the Monty Show presented by The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business are The Advocates, where you never pay unless and until they win your case. We told you earlier today that this weekend, Tony Petiti is going to meet with Big Ten presidents because Monday he is scheduled to have a call with the NCAA about the Michigan situation. I don't think it's any coincidence that we were hearing that there was going to be discipline handed down this weekend at Michigan. And then what do we get?
Discipline.
We get discipline.
Yeah.
I think Tony Petiti coming to town and Michigan firing Connor Stallions is just the beginning. I think that is I don't know. Is that something where you say to yourself, okay, well, they handed out justice, it's over. Here's the problem with that. There is no, again, here's that term, plausible deniability. Jim Harbaugh was well aware that this was going on in his program. and you fired the guy that was supposedly responsible for it.
Yeah, I wonder. So I wonder who's the next person from Michigan to speak to the media, because I don't think it can be Jim. And I think if it is Jim, that's a mistake.
Well, it's going to be Jim because they play tomorrow.
Yeah, but that's my point. Like, I don't know. I think if you're going to fire this cat, well, not if you did, if you're going to fire him, you got to do more than just fire him. Like, firing him, okay, great. But then what's the next thing? I mean, that's like, it's not, we can't, it's like, okay, cool. We're going to fire this guy. And then what's the update? Okay, we're firing him because of X, Y, and Z. What's the explanation? I mean, that's my thing. This is not the same situation as, hey, we're going to fire the guy who got caught on tape trying to meet a 13-year-old girl with alcohol. That's a little bit different. You know, like, that's one where, you know, that's pretty straightforward. That's a crime. Like, okay, we get it. This is, you know, NCAA violations and all the work.
I think this is the beginning. I think this is not the end. And I think it's very interesting that, you know, just reading the tea leaves, I think we were talking to a source of ours yesterday about this. That, and I think we even said it on the show, I mean, Tony Petitti is coming to town, not of coincidence.
No.
And we could talk about lacrosse championships and all of that. He was there to make sure action was being taken, in my opinion. He met with the president at Michigan. From what I understand, there was a meeting that involved the president and the athletic director. Tony Petitti did not meet with Jim Harbaugh, from what I was told, or had no plans to, rather. I think this is the beginning. And this is the least of the moves. Now, there's something else that I think is very interesting. Does this mean that the NCAA or Michigan has finished their investigation? Because I would remind you that Connor Stallions was suspended pending the outcome of this investigation.
So now that you fired him,
here's the other problem. If this is because the investigation's done, now my guess is this meeting with Tony Petitti and the NCAA takes on more meaning.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is not the end, folks.
No, I agree. This is the beginning. I think that, I don't know. It'll be really interesting to see where this goes. This has been my question the whole time for Tony Petitti going to Ann Arbor. Okay. He's going to come and he's going to meet with you guys, and you guys are basically going to hammer out what the best path forward is. So yeah, if you're going to fire somebody, that would indicate the investigation is over with. You have all the details. You have all the information. We're not wondering. There's no speculation. We know what happened. We know the circumstance. Now we've moved on to what we're going to do about it. And like you said, hey, there's a game tomorrow for Michigan. We're really going to let this guy on the sideline tomorrow? Come on.
Yeah, I have a sneaking suspicion that Jim Harbaugh is going to be viewed very differently standing in the maize and blue tomorrow. And I understand that you don't suspend Jim Harbaugh lightly. But now you fired his boy, who, by the way, as I mentioned earlier, Connor Stallions retained an attorney. What is the last thing Michigan wants Connor Stallions to do?
Sue them.
Because what happens when you sue people?
Discovery.
You really want to go through discovery with Connor Stallions? I think you're going to. Because my guess is Connor Stallions, if he sues, and I don't know that he will, if Connor Stallions sues, he's going to sue for wrongful termination and damage to reputation. And my guess is he's going to say that he was acting at the direction of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
And my guess is he has text messages, emails, phone calls.
If this guy, this is what should scare a Michigan fan. If this guy mentally has the capacity to decode signs, match up the film, run a whole scheme.
Navy Academy graduate, Naval Academy graduate, Marine captain.
You can be sure as part of this process, he knew what the consequences could be, and he knew how to cover himself if they
he
came.
kept receipts.
Yes.
Are you kidding me?
Yes.
He kept receipts because you know what the one of the more damning pieces of evidence is he wasn't trying to hide.
Yeah.
He used a publicly available with his name on it Venmo account. He wasn't trying to hide. He bought tickets in his own name. He was not trying to hide. The guys who went to the games for him are talking to the media. He wasn't trying to hide.
So this is why I ask, Michigan fan, these guys weren't acting in secret. Why? So you really think Jim didn't know? And because these guys weren't acting in secret, that tells me Jim's not good at this whole thing. Like Jim doesn't understand how to cheat properly. Jim doesn't he's not some elaborate and cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough assassin at cheating. And that's what's so amazing about this whole thing is that you would think if you were going to cheat to this scale, you would do it like secretively. You would cover your tracks. You wouldn't have a public Venmo account. This guy wouldn't be out here making it that obvious he was on Central Michigan sideline. He wouldn't be doing all this. I mean, and that's the other side of this too for Central Michigan. Now that they fired him, is that not an admittance that was him? I mean, on some level, right? Like,
I don't know that I would draw that line, but I think Central Michigan is complicit by their silence.
Yeah.
Because I just keep saying about this Central Michigan thing, if that wasn't Connor Stallions on the sideline at Central Michigan, dude, why haven't you said that that's not Connor Stallions? That's my daughter's kid, Jimmy. That's our water boy. That's John Doe. If that's not Connor Stallions, who the is it?
Fine Steeler guy.
You know what I mean? Like, that's, to me, Central Michigan is complicit by their silence.
Mm-hmm.
And the damning evidence is their long-standing relationship with Michigan. And the staff that used to work at Michigan that now works at Central Michigan. And that staff worked at Michigan while Connor Stallions was at Michigan. Right? I mean, this is going in the wrong direction, friends.
It's going downhill now.
And I think you are in a very bad spot. You are in a very, very bad spot here if you're Jim Harbaugh. I don't know. There's no way to.
So you're not spinning out of this, dude.
I'm saying Jeremy Callahan. I think he should title his memoirs "Wild Stallions." See what he did there,
right?
Jeff Woodward. Can we please talk about NDAs again? That was so much fun. Good luck. Good luck. You can't tell me you have a recruiting. His title was recruiting analyst, $55,000. You made him sign an NDA? Somehow I don't think so. I don't think so.
Yeah.
A report, Michigan fired Connor Stallions. Michigan says this is just a beginning of a broader change in Michigan football leadership per someone close to Michigan administration. Maybe. I can only lean on what our sources are telling us. And again, our sources told us Tony Petitti, his trip to Michigan was deliberate. He met with the president and the athletic director at Michigan. He is going to speak to all of the presidents in the Big Ten on a call tomorrow. He has already met with coaches on a call. He's already met with ADs on a call. He is going to meet with presidents. And then he is going to meet with the NCAA on Monday. We'll see. I don't, there's no good way to spin this.
Yeah. It's brutal.
This is, I mean, you can, Michigan fan, you can say anything you want to say, but now that Michigan has fired Connor Stallions, this is no longer some small thing. Dan Wetzel at Yahoo Sports is reporting that Michigan fires Connor Stallions, suspended with pay during an NCAA investigation into in-person scouting. He has now been terminated.
Nicole Auerbach is reporting that Connor Stallions refused to cooperate with any internal or external investigations or discussions, according to her source.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's not good. So if Connor Stallions is boy, that's just not how you want to handle this. Karen.
Yeah, that's not good, dude.
Connor Stallions. If he was uncooperative.
Yeah.
If he was in fact uncooperative with the investigation, you're in real trouble. Because why would you be uncooperative? Well, you'd be uncooperative because you're protecting somebody. Who do you think he's protecting?
Must be obvious, right?
I mean, that's the only reason that you're going to not cooperate with an investigation, Jim Harbaugh. Right? That's the only reason that you're not going to cooperate.
Connor Stallions seems like a Jim Harbaugh disciple. He seems like someone who loved Jim, who would do anything for Jim, and follows right in the same philosophy as Jim.
Michigan Manifesto.
Right. Hey, I'm not going to cooperate. And why am I not going to cooperate? Well, because my boss didn't cooperate, and he told me not to cooperate, so I'm not going to cooperate. Like, it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think now Jim Harbaugh is on the clock because there's no suspending him, I don't think. I think that the minute he is suspended, he will be fired. And and what I mean by that is we're suspending Jim Harbaugh until the investigation's finished. He'll never coach another game at Michigan.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think when you fire Connor Stallions because he wouldn't cooperate, and your head coach, who didn't even know Connor, I had no idea. Would Connor who?
Who?
I would never do that.
What?
Has a history of not cooperating and has a level 1 violation to prove it. This is football. This is how Michigan football operates now. Now we have a pattern. Now we have more than one person not cooperating with high-level investigations. This is a problem. Tanner Plummer, people got to know whether or not Michigan head coach is a crook. Well, I'm not a crook. Signed the Wii fence.
Mm-hmm.
Could be.
Me?
Jeff, I'm not going to play your game. I'm not doing it. AAR. Connor Stallions, sign guy 007. Talk to my lawyers. Yeah. Mike Smith. Connor falls on the sword and yells out, snitches get stitches.
Fine Steeler guy.
You know, John DeLon, Connor is protecting Team. How sweet.
That's what I mean, dude. This is you can see where this is going. You can absolutely see where it's going, dude.
Where else would it be going?
Yeah.
To catch a stallion.
Yeah.
Exactly, Aaron. Go Black. Go Tigers. Guys, we're about to see a great magic trick. A stallion is going to turn into a rat. But who's going to force his hand?
Jim.
The detail that Nicole brought forward that he didn't cooperate. So is he the fall guy? Is he the mark? Is he the patsy for this whole thing?
I think we could be heading that direction. So when you say, hey, who's going to force his hand? I think Jim would be the guy to force his hand because Jim's going to deny everything. We already know that. We know Jim's not going to cooperate and he's going to deny everything. And so then that means that Stallions will be the fall guy, which then means that he is going to sue Michigan for wrongful termination. And these two are going to fight it out, which then means that you're going to have to suspend Jim Harbaugh for the duration of this investigation, which then means, as you just said, Jim Harbaugh is never going to coach another football game for Michigan, which is incredible timing considering you've been on bye and it's Friday before your Saturday game and all of this is coming out. So does Jim Harbaugh set foot on that sideline tomorrow? I have a hard time believing that. But maybe it happens. Maybe it happens. But man, I have a hard time believing that after you just fired Connor Stallions. I don't know how that squares. I don't know how that works. I don't know how Michigan can stand to fire the guy who everyone believes was on CMU's sideline and who is widely regarded as the dude that stole all these signs, but then at the same time have the head man orchestrator on your sideline coaching the game. How are we doing that? And by the way, how is it that who the hell is Michigan playing? Who's Michigan got?
Purdue.
Boiler
up.
Yeah. I mean, if you're Purdue, how are you playing this game if Jim's on the sideline?
Brandon Butler We're about to see how loyal a hungry Stallions really is.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like that's what I don't understand. Like,
oh, Brandon, I love you.
This is classic mob movie type stuff, dude. Like, hey, you were running a scheme and you didn't, there's no way, I agree, there's no way you're having a $55,000 a year employee sign an NDA. That never happens. Can't imagine it would happen here. And you get caught, dude gets fired. You really tell me he's not coming after you to square things up? Come on now.
That's rough. I think that's rough. That's why he was terminated, because he wouldn't cooperate. I think that's probably why he was terminated. I think you're exactly right. I mean, compliance and participation is, I can't remember the exact verbiage, but I know in all NCAA athletic contracts, yeah, there is language that essentially says it's a given you're going to cooperate with investigations. It's like a stipulation in your employment contract. And that's why it's a level 1 violation when you do not. And when you make $55,000 a year as a football analyst and you don't cooperate, you're going to get whacked.
Yeah, and Adam Rittenberg, who's been all over this from ESPN, is saying that not cooperating, what that actually looks like is that Stallions did not attend a meeting with Michigan officials today, possibly on advice of his counsel. So
he retained a lawyer yesterday, I believe it was.
Yeah. So
Jeff says Michigan had to fire him as an analyst before they could hire him as the head coach per his manifesto. That's a good point.
Right.
You know, LFG says innocent person would fully cooperate. They would not. What if it incriminates you? Do you watch Suits? Hello.
No.
No.
Idiots.
I don't believe that innocent people always cooperate. I think if you are a Harbaugh guy and you're innocent, are you going to cooperate, knowing it's going to probably be part of his downfall? If you are sign stealer guy, are you going to cooperate, knowing you're probably going to get fired anyway? Because that's what somebody just texted me. Why does he care? He was getting fired anyway.
And think about who we're talking about, though. We're talking about an operative. You're talking about someone who understands the game they're playing, believes they can win and not get caught, and do it in an open, public fashion. That's who you're dealing with here. Don't forget that. So he's not going to cooperate. He's not going to help anybody. He's going to help himself.
No. Boss Frog, who I think works in compliance. Most ethics and employment policies have a policy that employees must participate in internal investigations. Must.
Yeah.
Gary Wolf, I'm not a crook. I am not a crook. Said Richard Nixon and not Jim Harbaugh. Mike Smith playing the role of Ollie North in the Michigan play, Connor Stallions, a real life Marine captain.
I'm going to say this again.
I think Michigan wants Stallions to be the fall guy. That's why he lawyered up.
I want you to listen to me.
I think my guess is they're looking for somebody internally to say, yeah, we did this and he knew about it. I think that's what they were hoping Connor Stallions would say. And he refused. And I think it makes a lot of sense to me that he is going to sue and that he did not want to incriminate himself, because I'm also guessing that his lawyer has read through his employment agreement. You know, like, I mean, that's why you write an employee handbook, right?
Right.
I mean,
yeah, 100%.
That's why I hire attorneys. And I would guess, I think that's a very good point. Jake, I think you or somebody said his lawyer probably advised him not to participate.
Yeah.
So, hey, you do you, man. You do you. Michael Jarrett, I can't wait to see that team up North's game the rest of the year. Pretty sure we will find out. Also, funny thing is Desmond will make excuses if that team up North, Michigan, loses, because he knew too. Guaranteed. That is the joke. Watch. Everybody knew. Everybody knew. Boss Frog, yeah, I'm really questioning this report. He didn't cooperate. You are. I think it makes sense because he was getting whacked anyway. Does anybody really think what were they going to let him keep his 401k? It's his money anyway.
Come on, man.
I mean, he was getting whacked anyway. They were going to fire him. There's no doubt about that. So 49er UCLA Wolverine. Harbaugh just 2-game suspension. Due process wins. This was all a witch hunt. Is that like official? Did I miss something? A 2-game suspension? How does that happen? I don't know that. Yeah, I don't know that. Is that a 2-game suspension? Is probably not doing this. This was all just a witch hunt. Michigan will kick Penn State and OSU's ass this year. Yeah, I don't know about that. You probably are you referring to the unsportsmanlike policy at the Big Ten? Because Tony Petitti isn't following that policy. I don't know how many people have noticed that. There's a policy in the Big Ten bylaws that says Tony Petitti has the right to use the unsportsmanlike conduct policy to suspend somebody, and most people think this is a slap on the wrist. But he doesn't have to go and ask anybody's opinion to do that.
No.
And Tony Petitti is taking part in a barnstorming tour, essentially. He's talking to all the coaches, all the athletic directors, all the presidents tomorrow, met with Michigan administration, president and AD today, was there when they fired Connor Stallions, and now is meeting with the NCAA on Monday. You think he's doing that for a 2-game suspension? Really? No, I'm being serious. I don't think that's the case. I don't think that's the case at all. You know. Aaron Wilson, shout out to my dad who passed 1 year ago today. He would have loved this show. Thank you for the comfort and community over the last year. You're welcome. Thanks for being here, man. John DeLon. So Connor was walking the Michigan sidelines with 200 pages of printed paper, consulting with both coordinators for 2.5 years, and Gene was clueless? Yeah, right.
That's what I'm saying.
He knew. Brandon Butler for $5. We are about to find out how loyal a Hungry Stallions is. Yes, I read that one. My bad. This is how the Watergate scandal played out. Multiple White House officials fell on the sword for Nixon. Now Stallions is doing the same for the Wheat Fence.
I don't know about that, dude. I'm not buying that.
I don't necessarily believe he's falling on a sword. He was never getting his job back. If you're Connor, put yourself in Connor Stallion's shoes. Well,
guys.
I mean, I'm still getting paid, so there's a chance. You think I get next year's Jordan gear? I don't think he was thinking, but he was not. He knew he wasn't getting his job back. If he thought he was getting his job back, that guy is a jag. Like, are you kidding me?
Yeah, and we also have to presume that, again, a guy of this caliber, right? This mental capacity, this ability, he's able to forecast and look forward. He knows what's coming. He knows he was going to get fired. He knows, he knew that suspension was going to happen. You know that. And so you can't tell me this whole time he wasn't getting a lawyer ready. Just because it got announced today doesn't mean that he hadn't had that lined up for however long now.
He knew, bro. He knew. I think it is the national reaction to this is hysterical. Like, it's so funny to me that Colin Cowherd is quoted and Fox is spitting this out everywhere. The demand for a rush to punishment for Michigan is about one thing: fear. Fear of what? No, you know what it's about? People's fucking legacies.
Yeah.
That's what this is about. This idea that there is no victim here is absolutely ridiculous. And we got to stop with that. Do you really think there's no victim here? Are you kidding me? I don't understand this defense. Well, who really? They're just scared of Michigan. Michigan's going to kick their ass. Well, if you knew every sign and you knew where to be and when to be there on the football field, you think you wouldn't win every game too? What? Like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me right now?
Yeah, people really believe that.
That's absolutely ridiculous. That's ridiculous. CJ Stroud, anybody on any team that they stole signs from is a victim here. He cost CJ Stroud money. There's no question about that. There's just no question about that. Sorry, man. I'm not doing this thing where it's like, oh, there was no victim here.
There were hundreds, if not thousands.
I mean, it's remarkable to me that you have the volume of leaks that have come out of Michigan that have fed the narrative on this, and you still think it's because people are scared of Michigan football. No, nobody's scared of Michigan football. You know what was driving? You know who was scared, Colin? Jim Harbaugh was scared of getting fired because he wasn't winning games. He had 0 wins of consequence 3 years ago. 0. They were sputtering. There were talk about him not keeping his job. And then all of a sudden, man, out of nowhere, he beats Ohio State 2 years in a row, including at the shoe. Holy cow.
He's figured it out.
This guy's amazing. You really think that's what happened? There was nobody's scared of Michigan. They're fed up with Michigan. They're fed up with Michigan. Like, come on.
Totally agree, man.
Come on. This is wild to me. It's wild that people think this is about fear. This is not about fear.
No, because Michigan hasn't done anything to, instill fear. I mean, Michigan hasn't beaten Georgia. Like, that's why there's fear. That's why schools fear Georgia and Alabama most years, because those two are unstoppable. Those two, you're not doing anything about it. I would contend that even if you had their signs, they'd still beat you because they are that much better than you.
Yeah, it is wild to me how we can look at this completely differently. Like, we all sit here talking about Connor Stallions getting fired today, and it's like, oh, everybody's scared of Michigan. Nobody's scared of Michigan. We know what they did. Like, the evidence is man. I know he plays him this week, but I agree 100% with what Ryan Walter said. It's not alleged anymore.
It's unfortunate, and what's crazy is there aren't allegations. Like, it happened. You know what I mean? And there's video evidence. There's ticket purchases and sales that you can track back, and we know for a fact that they were at a number of our games, and so we've had to teach our guys a new language in terms of some signals, and we will operate differently offensively. Like, you might see us in a huddle, for the first time this season. So it is what it is, but we're excited to go play, and I think it'll make for a great story.
Laura Weiss makes a great point too. One does shady and desperate things when they're at risk of being fired.
Yes.
Totally agree.
Dad,
Honey, what's wrong?
I got in an accident.
Are you okay?
I don't know.
Okay, did you call the police yet?
Yeah, I did.
I'm going to call an advocate, and you can tell us both at the same time, okay?
Hey, Sarah, your dad told me that you need help.
So, is there anything that I need to do? Or...
Just focus on getting better.
With an advocate on your side, you're never alone.
Today's the day. And look who I just met.
Hey, Dad.
You deserve a worry-free recovery. You deserve an advocate.
Big news out of Ann Arbor today. And I guess we'll start with Ward Manuel, the athletic director at Michigan, announced just moments ago via the tweet machine that he will not be going to the college football playoff committee tomorrow to vote on the rankings. Here is a statement from Ward Manuel through Michigan. Quote, I want to provide an update regarding my participation with the college football playoff committee this week. I will not be traveling to our weekly meeting in Dallas. Instead, I will stay in Ann Arbor attending to important matters regarding the ongoing investigation into our football program. I look forward to being back in the room with my fellow committee members next week and every week through the end of the season. Wow, the responsibility and the privilege that it is to serve the college football playoff committee. For Ward Manuel to pass on that opportunity for a week is seismic. And I don't think that we can make too much out of this. And I know that people have a high burnout factor for these stories, but I am telling you now that this story is the single biggest story in Michigan football history as we speak. there is real opportunity now that Jim Harbaugh may be suspended for the rest of the regular football season as soon as Wednesday. And I think some of the evidence of that is Ward Manuel not going to the College Football Playoff Committee meeting tomorrow. I have never seen that before in the short history of the College Football Playoff, where an athletic director who has a vote at the table to determine who's going to the College Football Playoff, and that would include his Michigan Wolverines, is saying we have so much controversy here in Ann Arbor that I cannot be peeled away from school to go to Dallas for a day. Jake, I think that speaks volumes to the gravity of this scandal.
Absolutely. And I think that, Ward Manuel is doing everything that he needs to do to see this thing through. And I think that, anytime someone gives up opportunity because they have responsibility at home, you begin to understand how significant that sacrifice is. And I think that, Michigan is sort of at the, I would say the climax of this particular situation. The Big Ten, has notified Michigan of the allegations. That notice did not include what punishment would be. So the idea that Ward Manuel is going to stay back from his meeting with the College Football Playoff Committee says to me that, hey, we understand that we've been noticed. We have to now, plan and put together our next steps forward. And that to me is why you would skip the College Football Playoff Committee meeting, because you understand, okay, here's what's about to happen. We have until Wednesday to respond to that notice, and we need to understand what we want to do moving forward. And so to me, it is a big deal that he's not going to the College Football Playoff meeting, because that is absolutely an honor to be on that committee. So the idea that he would stay back to handle this, I would agree, speaks volumes about where we're at in this situation and the severity and the seriousness of the timeline and where things are at.
Yeah, and I think Big Ten Commissioner Tony Petitti giving notice to Michigan of this investigation and essentially telling Michigan, as we broke exclusively here on the Monty Show last week, that Tony Petitti was going to meet with Michigan administration. He did that on Friday. I am told in that meeting that they did discuss penalties and the potential of penalties, while those discussions were not specific, i.e., hey, we're thinking about a 2-game, a 4-game, a year-long. There was no specifics, but I am told Tony Petitti and Michigan administration, in fact, did talk about the possibilities that there would be a suspension of Jim Harbaugh, and I think that is the minimum that we are looking at in this situation. You look at the fact that Tony Petitti gave notice to Michigan of these allegations. They talked about the situation in person on Friday. I am told that Tony Petitti did, in fact, have a call with the presidents of the Big Ten over the weekend, where he heard from each individual president, where they talked openly about this situation. I am told that today, Tony Petitti, and I would guess that it was in the last 2 hours, Tony Petitti did convene a call with the NCAA over this, after which he noticed Michigan, which is the proper procedure. Now, I believe Nicole Auerbach at The Athletic reported that he has 2 days now to hear back from Michigan. The overwhelming sentiment, I am told, is that there will be action Wednesday or Thursday, which is right on the timeline, and I think that's what's being widely reported at this point. But our sources are telling us that the Big Ten is likely to give Jim Harbaugh in Michigan a 4-game suspension, which makes a lot of sense. I think the Big Ten is trying to cover its bases. Suspending Jim Harbaugh for 4 games is very different than taking Michigan out of the postseason, which I don't think the Big Ten and Tony Petitti, from what I understand, is willing to do at this point. I think Tony Petitti wants to act and do something of significance with this sign-stealing scandal. I think something of significance would be removing Jim Harbaugh from the equation for the rest of the Big Ten season. Note I did not say for the rest of the football season. I think Tony Petitti will suspend, or I am told is considering suspending, and I want to get that right. I am told that Tony Petitti is considering a 4-game suspension for Jim Harbaugh. That would cover the last 3 games of the regular season and a potential Big Ten championship game for Michigan. That would be, I was also told over the weekend, a complete suspension. It would not be Jim just can't be at the game on Saturday. It would be no contact, no contact whatsoever throughout the week for Jim Harbaugh for an entire month with Michigan football. He would be eligible if and when Michigan is given a postseason berth. They would be allowed, if qualified, to play in the Big Ten championship game. So the punishment here would be to Jim Harbaugh. It would not be to Michigan football per se. It would be a 4-game suspension of Jim Harbaugh, not of Michigan football. And I think, Jake, that is cutting the pie as best you can if you are the Big Ten. I mean, you are still trying to make that money, because don't forget, there is a lot of money at stake for the Big Ten if Michigan does not qualify for the college football playoff. We're talking about a minimum of $6 million. And I think that is significant no matter how you slice it. And I think when you look at Tony Petitti, he is trying to soothe all parties here, in my opinion. If you simply act against Jim Harbaugh and you allow Michigan to continue to play games, Jake, I think that really satisfies everybody who's calling for somebody's head.
Yeah, and I think that you have to have someone get suspended, and it's a tough position to be in for Tony Petitti. I mean, you have the responsibility of the overall health of your conference, but you also have the responsibility of saving face for your conference. Like there are multiple angles to play from here if you're Tony Petitti, which is why I think we haven't seen a suspension yet, because what does that really say? Tony's got to go around to all the member institutions and figure out what exactly everybody wants to do, which is precisely what we heard last week, right? You guys remember, hey, all the member institutions in the Big Ten want Michigan, and specifically want Jim Harbaugh suspended. They want punishment for him. So now we're hearing, hey, they noticed Michigan and therefore noticed Jim, and Michigan and Jim have 2 days. Obviously, today's Monday. They have till Wednesday to respond. And so, yeah, it would seem like a logical step that Jim would get 4 games. But I'm curious, if that does indeed happen, what the NCAA will do about this. Because I think for the NCAA, this is a bigger problem than just simply, oh, well, Jim, ran some sign stealing scheme and it's no big deal and it's 4 games and we're good. See you later. Like, I don't think the NCAA is just going to leave it at that. And I think the Big Ten is going to punish Jim, and I think the NCAA is going to punish the Big Ten. And I think that, unfortunately, is the pecking order of discipline. And I don't know, when that punishment would come down. I don't know. Like, in my opinion, the just thing to do would be to take Michigan out of the college football playoff. But obviously, I don't think we're going to see that happen at this point. So that's why I say, if you're Tony Petitti, you're just trying to, quell everybody. You're just trying to say, okay, what does everybody think is fair? What do we want to do about this? I'm the commissioner. I work for you guys. That's all he's trying to do.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's been so, I'm not going to say public, but it's not private. It's very public knowledge. He's met with the athletic directors. He met with Michigan. He's met with the presidents. He's met with the coaches. He's talked to everybody.
Yes.
He has gotten opinions from all corners of the Big Ten universe. I think he's prepared to act. And I think he is absolutely following the Big Ten bylaws in the sportsmanship, unsportsmanlike activity code, which allows him to punish somebody for unsporting conduct. He has to give 48 hours notice of that unsporting conduct. He has done that to Michigan. The next step is punishment. And I want to make this clear. I've confirmed it several different ways, That unsportsmanlike policy, it does not simply say he only gets to suspend Jim Harbaugh for 2 games. I think this is a big point of misinformation across the sports world. Tony Petitti, if he has the backing of Big Ten presidents, can suggest a penalty, they can approve it, that penalty will be handed down. Tony Petitti is not in any way, shape, or form bound to simply suspend Jim Harbaugh for 2 games. And I think it is a nice round number that he would suspend him for 4 games. 3 for the remaining season, and then 1 for the Big Ten championship game. It makes all the sense in the world. And I think it's exactly what they should be doing. I think the difficulty here are all of the reports, and I think Brett McMurphy had this first today. I could be wrong, but everybody talking about how Michigan will take legal action. Man, I think that is a very difficult step for Michigan to take. My guess is that they would ask for an injunction that would, hold this, the suspension up until a court case can be heard or a hearing can be had, I think you're only doing bad things for the Big Ten. Because the bigger issue here is what people believe the rule is. And I can't say this any more clearly. It doesn't matter if Jim Harbaugh knew. It doesn't matter because the NCAA has made it very clear. If the head coach didn't know, he's being fired because he should have known. He's being penalized because he should have known. It's not a matter of did Jim Harbaugh have knowledge, in this case, let's say allegedly, of what Connor Stallions was doing. It doesn't matter. Connor Stallions was acting on behalf and for the benefit of Michigan football. So it's Jim Harbaugh's responsibility to know what they are doing. And if you are the Big Ten, what you are trying to do is take as little damage from this financially as possible, because Michigan is a valuable football partner of yours, and you need Michigan in the postseason. You need Michigan in the college football playoff, because we're going to talk about the AP Top 25 coming up. Ohio State's not getting very much love in the AP Top 25. And the concern now is, if you are the Big Ten, if you take action against Michigan, and let's say they lose a game or they lose two games, because they have two very big games coming up, Penn State and Ohio State, mind you, are coming up here in the next 3 weeks. If they lose two of those three games, they're out. And then if Ohio State isn't getting the love that they deserve, you could be shut out of the college football playoff. That is a very real risk that the Big Ten is running. And I don't care how you slice it. You go from a minimum of $6 million to no dollars for the college football playoff. That's a lot of jack, dude. And there's no way to substitute that. This is a critical moment in time. So for all of the Michigan fans out there watching this show, because we know you're here, you're in the comment section, let's make something very clear. This isn't a witch hunt. This isn't the NCAA and everybody else hates Michigan football. Jim Harbaugh has been caught, in my opinion, with his hand in the cookie jar, because every day the evidence gets worse. There's more and more evidence that comes out. You understand now this Connor Stallions Central Michigan story we're going to detail in a minute. It's almost now, thanks to ESPN and facial recognition, it's almost now not in dispute that Connor Stallions was on the Central Michigan sideline.
Facial recognition.
It is almost not in dispute that Michigan benefited from an illegal sign stealing operation. It's almost not in dispute. And it's getting more difficult to defend Jim Harbaugh as the days go on. And I just remind you, when the NCAA considers penalties and the Committee on Infractions considers penalty, past behavior is a very big consideration in the final deliberation. And when you figure out that Jim's already got pending level 1 violations, pending level 2 violations, he's got an FBI investigation on campus, and now he's in the middle of what could be the most fatal blow, this sign stealing cheating operation. This is going in the wrong direction for Michigan football. And I can only imagine, if you're a Michigan football fan and you're a Jim Harbaugh fan, I can only imagine these are difficult days for you. But makes one thing very clear. If Jim Harbaugh was fired today, Michigan would be in a far better place tomorrow. And I think that's something that Michigan football fans have to really look at. You're still one of the premier jobs in the country. Why are you fighting for this guy? And I feel like over the last 2 weeks, we've asked you this question every single show. Why are you fighting for Jim Harbaugh? Not a Michigan fan in the world wants to answer that question, because there is no good answer for it. The guy has damaged you. He is driving your integrity into the ground.
Facts.
And I'm trying to understand, what are you fighting for? Because the minute you fire him, the penalties go way down for Michigan. Way down for Michigan. And you're going to get the best available head coach to come and coach your football program. So I don't understand what you're doing fighting for this guy.
Man, it's tough. It's emotional for Michigan fan.
It is.
Michigan fan is Jim is Michigan royalty. Jim is, Michigan Superman, if you will. And I think Michigan fan is in the middle of this thing.
as much as any college football fan could be in the middle of any college football situation. And I think that for Michigan fan, it is, I imagine, somewhat heartbreaking to see Jim being this guy, because I don't care, who you're a fan of. You don't want your sports guy to be a villain, but that's what Jim kind of is here. I mean, Jim is somebody who, as we've detailed over the past couple of weeks, is a red ass with the media. He's someone who is not, a fan favorite outside of Ann Arbor. He's not some, everybody loves this guy type of personality. He's not that guy. And I think that's what's difficult about this whole thing is that Jim is someone who has you in the college football playoff conversation, but does not have you in the national championship conversation. And unfortunately, the college football playoff is expanding. So your odds of getting to the national championship game are not getting better. They're getting worse. And I think for Michigan fan, you're sitting here saying, man, like, who can we hire to keep us at the same level or improve? And I think that takes us right back to the point of, who are you? Well, you're Michigan football. You're a premier brand. So I think that there would be a bunch of dudes that would want to come in and coach Michigan football. So
I think the number one candidate would be Matt Campbell at Iowa State. I mean, I think he would be the first call. Mike Elko at Duke would have to be one of the first 5 calls you make for interviews. Like, you're talking about the best available coaches, man. Michigan is a premier job in college football. How are we even, as Michigan fans, how are we even sitting here having a conversation about what's better for Michigan? Fight for level 1 violation guy or go and get Matt Campbell at Iowa State? Are you out your goddamn mind?
Are you out of your goddamn mind?
If you're going to sit here and fight for Jim Harbaugh? This guy has been nothing but a pain in the ass since the day he put on the khakis. And you're starting to make the argument to me that Matt Campbell's not a better hire? Because he'd be the first guy you would call. You're out of your mind. PJ Fleck is not a better guy than Jim Harbaugh? Are you kidding me? Hell, Mike Hart is a better candidate to be the head coach at Michigan than Jim Harbaugh is right now.
I want the best people.
It's wild. It is wild to me. Do you understand the caliber of offensive coordinator that is out there? You can hire a guy like Matt Campbell, and you can easily slide a guy like Josh McDaniels in to be your offensive coordinator. You're talking about winning a national championship next season, let alone, is Jim Harbaugh going to be able to coach our team next year? Are you out of your mind? Like, it is unbelievable to me. And again, I don't want to exacerbate the point, but it's unbelievable to me that Michigan fan cannot see through all of this malaise of BS with Jim Harbaugh to say we are better off if this guy gets whacked today.
Yeah, I mean, it almost seems like the brand of Jim Harbaugh for Michigan fan is bigger than Michigan itself. And that's what's crazy to me is, like, Michigan football has a long history, a prideful one, a really good college football, story in the big picture. And I think that Michigan fan, what you don't realize is that you could be SMU, you could be some small, irrelevant program trying to get into a Power 5 conference. But no, you're not that. You are one of the blue bloods. You are one of the premier brands in college football, and you're so married to a guy because he played for you and, he went to Michigan and he's that guy. And yet here we are talking about, man, we beat Ohio State only to have that ripped away from us because we know they cheated to do it. And that's what I think is so painful. It's like, for Michigan fan, it's almost like you're in so deep now with Jim that you can't go back emotionally. And that's what I think is crazy, because I do think you can go back. I do think you can fire this guy. Yes, it would be costly for the school, but you really tell me Michigan can't absorb that cost?
Well, it wouldn't be costly.
Come on.
It would not be costly to fire him. You're firing him for cause. And the other part of this that nobody wants to talk about is Jonathan Smith at Oregon State is available. He's being linked to every major opening. And you have real offensive caliber guys offensive coordinator caliber guys out there waiting to be hired. I mean, this isn't even a conversation. The moment that you fire Jim Harbaugh, you're better off. Can you imagine? Well, I need a head coach. I'm Michigan. That's right. We can have any head coach we want. You can quite literally. The other guy that I've heard a lot about is Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Look what he's done for Ole Miss. If you're telling me right now, if you fired Jim Harbaugh, and I told you Jonathan Smith, Matt Campbell, and Lane Kiffin are all willing to interview for the job, you're not in a better place. You're not in a better place. Oh, come on.
Yeah.
Jonathan Smith on his own at Oregon State. You're in a better place.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're in a better place from, you're in a better place from, ethics, morals, compliance. Absolutely. I think that, Lane Kiffin going to Michigan would be an outstanding hire. I mean, that's just not in question. Jonathan Smith, I think a lot of people would wonder, okay, well, you're coming from Oregon State. Michigan's obviously a big time job. Let's see how you come in and into a bigger scale job. I think that would be the question. But ultimately, the reality of the situation is that any of these candidates are just as gifted and skilled, if not more, than Jim. And I really, in my heart of hearts, believe it is a massive disservice to the brand that is Michigan. Because I'm not even a Michigan fan, but I do respect the brand that is Michigan. Like, you're talking about a school that's got a dominant football program, dominant basketball program, Michigan hockey, storied history. Like, you're talking about a school that has an athletic department that is robust.
It's Michigan.
And yet here we are dying on the hill for a guy who had to cheat to beat your rival, has not won you a national championship, and seemingly is always in the middle of something.
Yeah.
He does not represent your brand well, and certainly does not have your best interest in mind.
Athletic director, Michigan fan. Hey, Michigan fan, your athletic director is skipping the college football playoff committee vote tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because of Jim Harbaugh.
Yeah.
I mean, it's wild to me. A couple other stories angles we need to update on the Michigan cheating situation. James Franklin, the head coach of Penn State, who obviously is going to see Jimmy this weekend, maybe not. What does James Franklin think about this Michigan situation?
I'm focused on all the stuff I see on film. That's what we're focused on, is all the stuff that we see on film, their players, their scheme, all the stuff. When I say see on film, what we see on the coach's copy of the film, the stuff that's going on between the sidelines, the 53 and a third, that's what we're focused on.
Dude. Like, it just keeps getting deeper and deeper. Oh, and then there's the Central Michigan situation.
Yeah.
The NCAA joins Central Michigan's investigation on whether or not Connor Stallions was on the sideline.
Sign stealer guy.
Yeah, sign stealer guy. Now, you remember this is the picture in question, which in my opinion is not much in question. So the NCAA is now officially looking into this, but then there's ESPN, who this is one of the most wild things I've ever heard of. You want to know how far this has gone? At ESPN's request, according to Adam Rittenberg, a doctoral student used state-of-the-art commercial facial recognition systems.
Facial recognition.
To compare two photographs. The system compared the images based on several facial characteristics to provide a similarity score in the range of 0 to 1.
Mm-hmm.
The higher the similarity score, the more likely the two faces being compared are the same person.
Me?
The system produced a similarity score of 0.6 when comparing two photographs. To validate that score, the doctoral students compared Stallion's photo to a database of more than 4,500 photos of white males.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why it's a 0.6 is because there's a disguise the doctoral student told ESPN. If I take an identical photo, it would be 1. Even changes in pose, illumination, expression, sunglasses that match will never be perfect based on this analysis. And this is a critical part. Based on this analysis, the 2 images of the same person with high confidence. They're of the same person. So this facial recognition guru, a doctoral student, used facial recognition to determine, Connor Stallions, you are the father.
Fine Steeler guy.
That you're basically saying that Connor Stallions, according to this facial recognition program, was on the sideline wearing Central Michigan coaching gear with alleged, I say alleged, glasses that record his activities, what he's looking at.
Facial recognition.
Which is amazing to me.
Incredible.
So this guy right there, that's the overlay. This guy right there with the glasses on and the blue light that pops on, according to ESPN and their doctoral facial recognition student, there is no doubt in that doctoral student's mind that this is Connor Stallions on both sides of this frame.
Yes.
And I think we all on the show last week, maybe you missed it, I think we all agreed that was him. I mean, this is where we are. This is 2023. This is who we've become. We need facial recognition to determine what we already know.
Facial recognition.
It's amazing.
Yeah, and I think the only question that remains about this Michigan, sign stealing operation that they were running is just how pervasive was this through the Big Ten? Because I think that question has not really been vetted yet. There is some reporting out there right now from the AP, talking about how a former Big Ten employee has, evidence from multiple member institutions, that he has text messages and signals that he provided to those schools. And so I think we're starting to get more substance about the idea that all the schools realized what Michigan was doing.
Yes.
And so then they retaliated back and did their own sign stealing. I think that's the direction we're headed potentially. And I think if that's the case, this thing's going to go a hell of a lot deeper than how many games is Jim Harbaugh going to get and just how long was sign stealer guy on Central Michigan's sideline. Because if sign stealer guy was on other people's sidelines and we just haven't realized it yet, now we're having a whole different discussion. And if there were multiple sign stealer guys for different member institutions inside the Big Ten, now we're having an entirely different conversation. And Jim Harbaugh was just the tip of the iceberg. And in usual fashion, Jim Harbaugh sucks at cheating. So that's why I say this thing's hardly, over.
Look at the web that has been woven on this. I mean, honestly. We're from Central Michigan. Central Michigan's in a world of hurt right now because the rules are very clear. Who is supposed to have the visitor's bench credential? It's 50 people. And dude wearing Ray-Ban recording glasses allegedly is not one of the 50 people
Fine
authorized.
Steeler guy.
Yeah, is not one of the 50 people authorized to have this pass. And again, if it was not Connor Stallions, my question is, where's the guy that it was then? Where is, that was my nephew's friend, Tony. We just wanted him to carry our towels that day.
Yeah, water boy.
And
That's right, T.
he has cornucopia, the eyelashes, so he has to wear glasses at night.
Yeah.
Like, where is that guy? Where are you?
Yeah.
But that guy doesn't exist because, in my opinion, that's Connor Stallions.
Yeah, and Jim McElwain, CMU's head coach, didn't sit here and say, "Oh yeah, hey, it was our water boy," or "Hey, it was."
You guys, this is ridiculous that you're asking me these questions because that was my wife's nephew's sister's cousin's brother, and he's having a tough time and stuff.
Before we go any farther, we've obviously are aware of a picture floating around with the sign stealer guy. Sign stealer guy.
It's ridiculous. All right. Less of us, more of you. Hit it in the comments section. Thank you to everybody who's here today. Please give us a thumbs up. Hit the like button if you have not. To comment on the show, you guys know how much we value our comment section. To comment on the show, you do have to be a subscriber to the channel. Please go hook that up. And when you do that, then get into the description and get your free buckshot from Bucked Up. We hit it every day at this time, you guys. It is the single best energy shot on the market. And if you are somebody that uses the 5-hour energies of the world, this is better than any other energy shot in the country, because you get 200 milligrams of naturally sourced caffeine and a bunch of brain food. It's elite ingredients to make an elite product that does exactly what it says it's going to do. There are no spikes. There are no dips. You just get a natural boost. So you're more alert. You're more aware to finish that last conference call. Hey, I need to go find sign stealer guy and do facial recognition.
Sign stealer guy.
Better pop a buckshot so I can see clearly without sunglasses on. Whatever it is, a pivot table, you have a long drive home. Maybe you're just tired. It's Monday and the clock's changed over the weekend. There's no better way to make yourself feel better so you can have your best days than getting free buckshot in the description below. Cheers to you, sign stealer guy. Yes, sir. And it's good. That's the other thing. This is watermelon. I'm a huge watermelon and blue raz guy. Go get it now in the description below. Bucked Up will send you 6 free buckshots right to your front door. Make sure you tell me you heard about it on the Monty Show. All right, who's first in today? Lance Johnson. How about those OSU Cowboys off the mat and cowboying up? Don't think Gundy cares about Bedlam. Don't think he does.
I'm a man.
Because all he's told me for over a year is Bedlam's meaningless.
So get your facts straight.
And they're done with it. We'll talk about Gundy coming up. I think the guy's a fraud. And I know that I pissed a lot of people off on Twitter over the weekend, but I'm so tired of this guy talking out of both sides of his mouth and being a red ass and, just saying how much his fan base doesn't care about Oklahoma. And then after the game, talking about how it was the single greatest moment of his entire life, and childbirth means nothing, and the lunar landing means nothing, and the Berlin Wall falling means nothing, and his wedding day and his birthday, the actual day he popped out between his mom's thighs, is meaningless because we just won Bedlam.
Hey, guys.
But then all you've told me for a year is Bedlam's meaningless. Oh, but when you win Bedlam, then it means something. Please. Aaron Wilson gifts 1 membership to the Monty Show. Let's go. Appreciate you, Aaron Wilson, as always. Dakota Tubbs. Can anyone tell me what in the Sam Hill is a pivot table? It's an attachment to an Excel spreadsheet. And tell me that you don't work in Excel without telling me you don't work in Excel. John DeLon, what's up with you? Good to see you. Jeremy Callahan. Yep. SSG Alameo. I don't know what that means, but okay.
Sign stealer guy.
Okay. Big Daddy Magic. Tom Brady would have Michigan in the national. Go back to Victor Wembanyama, Big Daddy Magic. Tom Brady's not a candidate for the Michigan.
The way.
Man. Let's see. Let's go back towards the top because you guys have been great today. Boyd Lake, the SEO King of America. Remember what I said? All they have to do is produce who that guy really was, and the whole question goes away for CMU.
That's what I'm saying, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, where is he?
They haven't and they can't, because I think it's because every day that goes by, they haven't and they can't and they won't, in my opinion. And it very well is going to get some people at CMU fired. I don't know how it wouldn't, because it's not Michigan State fault. And I want to make this clear. A lot of people are saying Michigan State, was trying to why would Michigan State want to help sign stealer guy from Michigan?
Yeah.
B, Michigan State takes 50 of those visitor bench credentials and they hand them in bulk to Central Michigan in this case. This game was September 1st in East Lansing. Michigan State's the home team. They give him a bunch and they say, here you go. And it's up to CMU. And I would also remind you, there are no names on those credentials. They simply say VB, and they are given out to the 50 people that have to work on that bench. So medical personnel, coaching, support staff, but even like the band or whoever, none of those
Media people,
they don't get, they're not allowed between those two big white bulk lines that encompass the bench. It is for essential bench personnel only. And that does not include allegedly a Michigan analyst.
Fine Steeler guy.
There's no way around it.
No.
ZZM, Tom Brady has never coached before. Are you crazy?
Okay.
Matt Campbell, one of the most accomplished coaches in the Big 12 this year, or Tom Brady? I've never understood that.
Yeah.
I've never understood that. Lance Johnson, Stallions looks like a mule for the cartels. Okay. I mean, I don't know how you know that, but you know. Jeremy Callahan, I was at Casey's and there were probably 3 dudes that looked just like that picture. Did you ask them who they were? I don't know. Hey, Tone says, dude, it was me. Well, all right. Solve the sign stealer guy conundrum. ZZM, wait until it's released. He was also at the Western Michigan game. You think so?
He was at all the football games inside the state of Michigan.
Simultaneously.
Yeah, all of them at once.
Simultaneously. You know. Hey, Tone, LMAO, Monty is FBI, CIA. Could be. Could be. Mike Smith, what's up, Mike? You can tell it is the same guy because he's chewing the same brand and flavor of gum. That's what I'm saying. I mean, just check the DNA on the gum. What are we even arguing about?
Juicy.
OG Gary, stunner glasses are in fact being worn at night. That's the other thing. Did you not think that would draw attention to you? You have a blue light on the front of your glasses, bro.
Me?
Did you guys pick up on that? That's if you've been watching the show, you know, like look at the glasses right on the right lens there, left side of the screen. Note the blue light that turns on. Hey-oh. It's not there, not there. Oh, hey.
Look at that.
Those are Ray-Bans, and people have offered explanations for this. Because that does not look like he tilted his head up and it's a reflection from the light standings.
No.
That looks like a blue light that turns on when they're recording whatever you're looking at.
Yeah.
Because they have 2 lenses. They have 2 lenses here, and there's a little light above the lens. So, I mean, it's awfully hard to ignore it.
Yeah.
It's awfully hard to ignore it. In my opinion, it's awfully difficult to ignore it. So I just think they're in so much trouble. They're in
deep.
so much
There's
trouble.
no doubt.
The Christie, I don't think we can assume Michigan started it. They were just caught first. Oh, I think that's a great point. I think if you believe that Michigan's the only one doing this, you're foolish. They're the only ones stupid enough to do it the way they did it, and it was easy to catch them.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Again, why are you dying on the hill for Jim Harbaugh? He's not. So let me get this right. He's not good at winning national championships.
Right.
So he goes to cheat to win national championships, and he gets caught doing that. So you're not good at cheating. You're not good at winning national championships like your colleagues are. So what are we talking about?
Like your colleagues are.
If I said to you, okay, who do you think is most likely to win a national championship first? Ryan Day, Jim Harbaugh, Lane Kiffin, or Nick Saban? Which of those 4?
Not Jim Harbaugh.
Not Jim Harbaugh. I'm going Nick, Ryan, Lane, then Jim.
Yeah.
Right. And I haven't even thrown Kirby Smart in there or Jesus Christ himself, Dabo Swinney.
And the other part of this is I think you can only be a red ass for so long before it comes back to get you.
Mm-hmm.
And Jim Harbaugh not being somebody that plays well in the sandbox and being a guy who does not get along with others. This is when it comes back to get you, because you hear that Tony Petitti, the commissioner of the Big Ten, had a conference call with coaches, ADs, and presidents, and roundly all of them called for Harbaugh and Michigan to be punished. If he had connections and was well-liked, maybe that calling is a little less. If if he wasn't such a jerk and if he hadn't sent, and I believe, in my opinion, that he knows what his guy is doing. There's too much video of Connor Stallions. And again, here's the plausible deniability part. Everybody wants plausible deniability.
Such a catchphrase.
Plausible
Such a
deniability.
catchphrase.
Okay, help me understand this. If you look at Jim Harbaugh on the sidelines and you start to understand that he's somebody who, you know, you're watching Connor Stallions tell them what the play is.
Mm-hmm.
And they're sending it in. You're watching last year in the Ohio State game, all of the Michigan players signaling pass, pass, pass. As soon as Connor Stallions saw the play. And you're telling me Jim Harbaugh doesn't know about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think what's incredible too is, like, you know, all these pictures we've seen of, like, you know, where Stallions has like this white laminated sort of thing, like play call sheet, whether it was at Central Michigan or on the Michigan sideline, like it's very, he does the same thing every single time. And what's so funny about the parallels between his time at Michigan and that game he was captured at between Michigan State and Central Michigan is he's right in the center of both of those, right by both head coaches. I mean, you're talking about Jim McElwain being in the same picture as you on his sideline, just the same way you were with Jim.
And
so
everybody is doing it, but they're not doing it like you did it. And I think, again, people either don't know this or they like to forget it. Sign stealing is not illegal in college football. In the NFL, it's not illegal. You know what the difference is? They don't send signs in the NFL. Why is that? They have helmet technology. It's not illegal in the NCAA in that if I can look across the field and read your signals and know what the call is, that's not illegal that I just stole your signs. But if you send people with recording devices to other stadiums, specifically up your schedule to future competition, and you pay people to, I don't know, let's say you paid somebody to sit in the stands and point their phone at a sideline and then upload that video to a cloud folder, which then you used to decipher signs and plays. That's illegal, right? That's exactly what Michigan is accused of. And I would remind you, some of the people who were hired to go to these games have spoken. I would remind you that Connor Stallions had a public Venmo account. I would remind you, Connor Stallions was openly talking about it to friends, telling people, hey, I'm going to be in Nashville for this game because I'm sign stealer guy. Hey, you want to get a beer afterwards?
Sign stealer guy.
Like, you're not even trying to hide it.
Yeah.
And I'd also remind you, he bought tickets to all of these venues in his own name. How stupid are you? So if you're going to do it, at least use like a made-up name or Dick Tidrow or some obscure baseball player name. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
Use like an obscure hockey player's name. I don't care. But you can't use your own name and become infamous across the Big Ten.
Yeah, and that's what I don't understand about this. This is what I'm trying to understand. Is like, okay, let's say that just as an example, hypothetical. Let's say that every program in the Big Ten does stuff like this. It sends people out advanced scouting, you know, they're cheating,
Yes.
you know, let's say everybody's doing it. Then why is it that Michigan was the only one who's been caught? Well, obviously, because of what you just said. They did it in a very public way.
And I from what people tell me, most coaches do not send people to venues. They have somebody or a couple of people on their staff whose job it is to review the film. And again, maybe you guys don't know this, and I don't mean to mansplain it. Every week, you get a volume of video.
Well, that's what James Franklin said.
I mean an assload of video for your opponent.
Yeah.
So this week, Michigan's got an assload of Penn State film. And you can easily take that film, look at the signals coming into the game, And here's how I don't know if people know this. Here's how you steal signs. You watch the guy send the signs in, and then you say, okay, he just sent that sign in. What play did they run? Oh, they ran a pass, and it was an out to the sideline. Okay, let's go find that next one. Okay, here's the same route package. There's the same throw. Rewind. What sign did they send in? Okay, well, this means right. That's how they do it.
Yeah.
It's not hard. It's not covert.
It's just time intensive.
They hand it to you.
Yeah.
And so most coaches have an intern, let's say, who takes that video and who breaks those plays down. He sent this signal in. Every time he does this, it's a pass play. And 8 out of those 10 pass plays, his tendency is to throw an out route to the right sideline. That's how you steal signs.
Cold-blooded, clean, methodical, and thorough.
I know rocket science. That's all it is. So the fact that you had a financial budget allocated to sending people to advanced scout is really stupid.
Yes, it is.
Because you don't have to
And
do
it
it.
indicates that your AD was in on it and possibly more people were not.
You don't have to do it.
You don't.
That's the issue. And I hope people understand that the reason that you don't have more people getting caught for sign stealing is you have to be really stupid to go and do it because they give it to you. So
again, why are we dying on the hill of Jim Harbaugh?
I don't know. Mike Smith, won't you post more? Bill Bailey, won't you post more? No, we won't. Boyd Lake, if Harbaugh didn't know, he was the only one that didn't know, which would be ridiculous. And it doesn't matter if he didn't know.
Yeah, doesn't matter.
It's not required for him to know. It's unbelievable. John DeLon, how much you want to bet Jeem is willing to die on the quote, I didn't know anything about cheating hill? Well, I would refer you back to the WeFence's statement on this, where he said, I don't know.
Yeah, I have no knowledge of any coaches doing anything nefarious or rule breaking. I don't know anything about it. That's what he said.
And yeah. I just think it's wild. And we still have not seen Jim Harbaugh get his contract extension. Remember last week, before all that new evidence came out, it was a slam dunk. And, it's not accurate. It's not accurate that my contract was reneged. Well, maybe it was. I just think it's wild. I absolutely think it's wild. The Todd father, Jake, people have been dying for Jim Harbaugh since 1985.
We have. I get it. And I understand. Jim's got a loyal following. And my question is, if you're a Michigan fan and you're one of those folks who's been a Michigan fan before Jim was there and will be a fan after Jim leaves inevitably, why are you so loyal to this guy? And is it a thing where it's just like, hey, he's our head coach. I'm going to defend our head coach till I die. Is that what it is? Because everything says that he knew. I'm not somebody who is going to buy into this nonsense that Jim didn't know. I think he knew.
I absolutely
think
agree.
He was in on it. I
agree.
think that I would even go as far as to say, in my opinion, I think he initiated this because his seat was getting hot because he hadn't beaten Ryan Day in his time at Michigan.
That's the most damning part is until he has beaten Ohio State these last 2 times, Jim didn't have a signature win. And you go back to the players tweeting at Connor Stallions all the way back to, I think it's 2015. So Connor Stallions, again, the now resigned, forced to resign, fired, whatever the hell you want to call it.
Yeah, that was a joke.
Connor Stallions is linked to Michigan football all the way back to 2015. The manifesto that he wrote, all this stuff about how he was going to lead Michigan football back to the mountaintop. And the other part of this that I think is so remarkable is when it's know or don't know, it just doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It's why Pat Fitzgerald got fired at Northwestern for the male parts and stuff.
Because
car
it's
wash.
illegal.
Yeah, the sexual abuse allegations at Northwestern.
Yeah.
Pat Fitzgerald, I didn't know. I had no idea. Oh, you're going to take a couple of game suspension. Okay, but I still didn't know. Oh, now there's new details. Yeah, Pat, you're fired. Because once it gets too hot, they don't care. They're going to make you a fall guy. So as Northwestern did, hey, let's save the university by sacrificing Pat Fitzgerald, that's exactly what Michigan should do. Because the evidence is overwhelming and it's no longer in question. And I just don't know how long we have to play this charade.
Yeah, well, and I think the other point, and we talked about this earlier, is that this concept that, Jim's, looking at 4 games here, right? Last 3 regular season games and the Big Ten championship game. And you start to think about this from Michigan's standpoint. And if you're Michigan, and I don't agree with this philosophy, but this to me seems like the philosophy, which is, hey, well, he's only going to get 4 games. And if we extend him and we work all this new verbiage in that protects us in the future, that allows us to more easily terminate Jim, why wouldn't we extend him? We can make him the highest paid coach in college football. It's good for the school, we think. And then if he just goes out and does what he does, we should be fine. I mean, that's what it seems like.
I'm wondering, and I'm not really wondering. I'm pretty certain that Michigan is in the middle of the conversation of, well, fuck, how much more are we going to take? Excuse my French. Well, how much more of this are we willing to take? How much more damage are we willing to take? Because the other thing that I think nobody talks about, don't you think the president? Don't you think the donors? Don't you think the board of trustees? Don't you? This isn't just a football problem. This is a business problem because they have brand partners. They have TV partners. And I think it's getting to the point where now anybody that's affiliated with Michigan, if you're an athletic trainer at Michigan football and you go home tonight and you're, it's Thanksgiving here in a couple of weeks. What do you think, Jimmy, the football video guy? Hey, are you guys really cheating? Hey, what do you think the biggest boosters are talking about on their golf rounds?
Yeah.